Hello, Brandon. It's 5:35. Could we wait about 5 more minutes?
Yes, Chair Barosa. We can wait till we get quorum. So if we can give it a couple more minutes, we can give it another 5 minutes. It's fine.
Perfect. Thank you. Brandon, can I please start the meeting? Thank you. Call the meeting to order at 5:44 PM. Sorry. Roll call. Hector,
Present.
Caitlin,
But remember, secretary needs to call it. No, you're secretary. Right?
he doesn't have a microphone, so just for the purposes of the 15 minutes last time we had for some attendees to make it here, I'm gonna do it myself.
Okay.
Gary. Me, here. Lindsay?
Here.
Sounded double. Lydia?
Not here.
Mr. Michael? Ariana? Elizabeth? Brandon, do I add you to the, Brandon? Thank you. Any deferrals, additions, deletions? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So public comments? If no one's here, the answer is no. Okay. So if we can take a minute or two to review and adopt the meeting minutes from last month, please. And whenever everyone finishes reading it. So you want to do the motion?
Oh, that's fine. So I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Who wants to second that?
Gary,
Thank you, Gary.
do you want to discuss something?
Yeah, just,
Sound
have any
check?
discussion.
Oh, in the minutes? Okay.
So old business, A, 6A. So federal and state mental health recommendations. Michael, you want to take this one over for a minute?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I presented it a little while. So just take a look at it, I know that, I kind of think about what Vice Mayor Luis Collazo had the vision in terms of what mental health advisory task force is supposed to be doing. So when I looked closely, the directive that he issued back in June 16, 2020, for the formation of this task force advisory, mental health task force advisory, and I kind of wanted to make sure that we know that we are not a mental health task force, we are advisory. So advisory means we advise to the council, through council, Vice Mayor Luis Collazo, and then he basically takes it to the next level to present to the council with the help of our chair. And then whatever that format may be, the council has the ultimate discretion of how they took our recommendation. Having said that, I kind of felt like that at the bottom of this particular write-up, if you notice, the key is what Councilman is looking for. He basically wanted to make sure that how do we continue to support efforts to address the stigma associated with the mental health among the population that we talked about, elderly, youth, and also veterans population. Also, the possible identification of gaps that we currently have in this community or in general specific to Miami Lakes, and possible solution to addressing those gaps exist, that how can we overcome. I think these are the key areas of recommendation that we need to focus on. And since we have a 9-month of a scope as far as our time frame is concerned, so we need to focus on getting those. So I would suggest that looking at some of the recommendations that we have, like the banners and the websites and all that, these are the great efforts for awareness and bringing to highlight to every segment that we are representing, like veterans and elderly and youth and all that. So we have 2 mental health task force people. So, I mean, professionals like you two, you can help us that are these efforts from these different committees are the right efforts to address the mental health in the context of treatment. Okay, number one. Number two, that what are the gaps that you see exist right now? Say if you have a veterans coming in and Gary brought it up to you guys, and I'm using that as an example. How are we addressing that need? Where they're being sent? Who's gonna cover the cost of that service? Is there any program funded by the government, like your local county or state or whatever? Are they there to cover some of that cost? How the cost is gonna be passed on to particular source of funding? So that's what we need to look at from that perspective. Also, if there are gaps, how can we address those? That's what Councilman is looking for, Vice Mayor is looking for. That, how can you say that one solution is not fixing all the problems? So every problem has a unique solution. How you intend to address that? So I think these are the areas that he's more focused on, and we need to focus on that. So as we give them that recommendation, it's in line with what they're looking for. Okay? In our presentation, so those are going to be the recommendations that he's looking for. So I would recommend that, we can come up with some ideas today as a part of our discussion, because that's what he wants through this whole task force concept, to create a dialogue, to bring into discussion mental health. Because according to Councilman, Vice Mayor Luis Gallardo, there are a lot of efforts town of Miami Lakes have taken and funded. But these are very fragmented efforts. Some of them are very good. They have done their job for what they intended for. But it's time to bring in together all these things and make sure that we have a very cohesive way of approaching mental health, which is not just directed to suicide or any particular segment of the population, like elderly or veteran. It can be for every segment of the population that we represent, which is youth, elderly, veteran, and others.
And we can take all the recommendations that we talk about and put it into the presentation.
We can have 5 different recommendations, say, for example, that encompasses all this highlighted area. And then we can give those 5 recommendations to Vice Mayor through our chair, and that Vice Mayor can present it to the council or whichever format that he would feel appropriate to address it to the council, because the leadership at the town council level is where they will look at that and how far you want to go. Maybe town at that point, and I'm just talking about in general, may decide to continue such an effort in some other ways, maybe create a mental health committee, or could be an morph into a representative from each committee can come into and become one of those segments. Yeah. So it's just some of the ideas I'm tossing around. But
So let me give you my thoughts on that. And I do think the idea it's very good. I like what you did here. My only concern is when you start changing the name of the actual committee. I know that we're advisory.
a good
It's
question.
good. But throughout, from the very beginning, the way they named it was the Mental Health Task Force, not advisory.
I'm
So
glad you brought it up.
Right. I do not know what role we would have in it. We know we have to advise, right?
Right. No, actually, this is a good question you raised, because that's what I showed it to Lindsay. I looked at the very directive that came from Vice Mayor Collazo, and in that, at one point, it was said mental health awareness task force, but if you look at the bottom here, it's an advisory task force. So there's a concept of advisory is quite different. So I think Councilman Collazo is right on the mark as far as I'm concerned. He knows exactly what he's talking about, but what he wanted to make sure that we understand that we are not a task force. We have a 9-month period, and we are here to give the advisory role. We are on the advisory. That would be one of the recommendations. Right.
So, right.
Exactly. So then we morph into that. But at this point in time, our role is advisory. And that's what I want to make sure that the group here knows.
So,
We did not know that.
and throughout the whole time, and we've been meeting for a while now, it's always been a certain thing.
Yeah, so that's why I
So
kept the
I think-
distinction between the two, as you can see.
So I think we have to provide
Certain recommendations.
recommendations not to to Vice Mayor Collazo, I think it has to be to the whole council, right?
Well, I think this is the brainchild of our vice mayor. So I think the best way to do, since he knows and he is very invested in that. So I think once we prepare a recommendation, which every group here representing, like youth and the veterans and the elderly and others, we feel like that this is what our vehicle is going to be, then those recommendations from the advisory council or group that we are, we provide them through our vice mayor, to our chair, to the vice mayor.
Okay, but
And then vice mayor feels it's
but
okay,
correct
then we
me.
can make the presentation.
I could be wrong, but I don't think we can present to the Vice Mayor. We have to present to the town.
No, if ultimately through to the town, but I think that vice mayor need to know what.
No, sure, but the Vice Mayor is not like we're gonna call him and sit on secret now and
No,
say,
no,
hey,
no,
these are gonna be our recommendations.
No, but it's
So
true,
we
Ken.
create our recommendations,
And then he will
we
allow
turn
us
it
to present
into,
to the town council.
to the town clerk.
Yeah, and then vice mayor is going to call us in.
So Brandon, you're there. I mean,
Yeah, so let me give you a quick explanation how this works. So once the committee's complete and you guys have your final report together, you bring that report and you do a report to the council, which is
Right.
the mayor and the rest of the council members as a board together.
Right.
That's how
But
you do the
through the vice mayor.
No. I don't know if you're appointed by the vice mayor. but-
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the final report of
It's gonna go to the
is
town
to
council.
the mayor and
Yes.
to the council, just like every other committee. The difference with you guys is that you guys have a sunset date.
Yeah.
So you guys have a date that you have to be complete by and you have to have the
Yeah,
report
9
by.
months.
so, so the other thing with the sunset, now you touched it. Please remember that I believe our sunset, it's August or September. I mean, we're right.
September.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're right coming up right
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
It
So,
would be kind of hard to, I mean, we had three things that we had talked about, right? We've been talking about consistently for 6-7 months. To change it all together at the last second would be hard. I mean, it doesn't mean that we cannot add to it recommendations. So as far as resources, and I thought that's why the landing page was going to be right. So,
Right,
So
right.
citizens and residents could go in and find the resources.
Mhm.
The other thing I think you mentioned, and I'd be careful with it, and I come from remember the school system works differently. So if we make a recommendation to any resident or citizen, and I could be wrong, maybe the town works differently. Hey, go to so and such an agency, or so then the town is liable to have to pay for the services.
no, actually, contrary, when I say recommendation, we are making it to the town.
Right, to the town,
To the
not,
town. We are
not to
no,
any
no, this-
resident.
This has no scope of that. In
Right,
other words, our advisory was created, or this particular advisory task force was created by Councilman Luis Cuyazo. So my position is that, we recommend, his vision is to, we make recommendation from the task force to the town, that what we will do for all these different segment of population. What are some of the gaps? How are we going to address the gaps? What are the resources out there? Towards that, similarly.
The landing page on the website, that would be one of the points to address the gap.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had talked about the landing page. We had talked about creating the flyer, which I believe has been created.
Also, another one for the gap.
The banners, which we have the proposals here. And then we had talked about doing either a symposium or whether it's online or physical.
Right,
So we had talked about those 4 things. Now, if we want to expand on those, fine.
Well,
My thing
these-
is creating new
I-
things would be hard.
I think those are part of the gap.
Yeah, I think this is supplemental, like a PowerPoint. What are we gonna do? Just put 4 pages? And supplemental to the landing page. Okay, hey, this is what we wanted to work on. These are the gaps that we noticed. We're filling them by having a resource page for,
That would be.
just to give more context, I think, to the
Address
PowerPoint.
exactly what it says there, so the efforts to address the stigma and the gap.
Yeah.
So then the gaps would be, the landing page, that's one of the ways to fill that gap, is to create the resources there, engage with them, the banners,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
increase the awareness and all that. The-
Right.
I don't know if that's gonna happen now,
The
but
task
if it
force.
does, that would be an additional. And then I think the only thing that we should add on there for the gaps is to eventually have a task force that will continue on with what
Or a
we
committee.
created. Or something, a committee, something.
Yeah, someone has to continue
Something
feeding.
to continue
That
feeding,
landing
because then it's gonna, yeah, it's
Sorry.
gonna happen to us, it's gonna die.
Well, the key is, if you look at the last paragraph, is the task force will be convened for 9 months. We understand, this young man just said that we are here for a short period of time, so 9 months, right? We know that. So now in the 9 month, our purpose for the town is to we provide a set of recommendation to the town, not to individual,
Right.
not to any committee, to the town. Now, once we provide the recommendation, those recommendation has to include certain things. First thing first, how we could continue to support effort to address the stigma associated with the mental health. That's the first thing. But Councilman Collazo is saying that when somebody is getting mental health services, those persons are kind of like a written off from the community. So if I say I'm getting a mental health, everybody's looking at me like I have some mental health issue. I may not be stable to work with,
You're crazy.
crazy or whatever that may be. So that stigma, how we as a task force going to address the stigma?
So
That-
that would be banners, blah, blah,
That
blah.
can exactly
resource
raise awareness
Okay.
that this is important. Just because you're getting a help doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, is you can get help and get better. And they can be more functional than ever and have a useful life
Education.
is the key.
To be included in the
Right.
resource page will help address
Ex-
that. People are educated on what mental health
It's-
is. And it will reduce the stigma.
Right.
That's what we're providing, the education portion that's going to be in the landing page.
Right. Then the next idea is that how do you know, what are the possible gaps? We talked about gaps, so what are the gaps? So if Michael Salem is a senior, he needs help, mental health help, whatever you diagnose is,
The flyer,
We-
we're not going to go on the website, maybe, so we created the flyer to address that for the veterans and the older. people.
And the resource.
So-
That's going to be
parts.
more for like
Right.
the youth. and the-
Right, but it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Right.
so the typical gaps are usually like, I can't find the service, I cannot find person with proper language. Okay, maybe person is not culturally sensitive to my need. So those are the kinds of things, in addition to a professional who is providing the service. So I think these are the things that we can talk about in that.
It's a way to organize our presentation.
Right, exactly,
Make sure that we are addressing what the question entails to start it.
exactly.
Everything that we do is. We have all of it.
Yeah.
We have it all, exactly. It's just a matter of presenting something for the public. It looks organized.
And I think,
Right, right.
This is what we will do, this is how we plan to.
Exactly.
and this is the stage that we should be at right now. Creating
Yeah,
that PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Because if, again, I could be wrong. I mean, a million things going on at once, but I thought at some point we discussed about presenting to council at the July meeting.
We're gonna do it.
But if we're going to present that everything has to be settled today, I don't think we're going to have time to settle everything.
Well, maybe August, but we're gonna push for July.
But whatever it is, because they have to put us on the agenda, right? We have to present it.
Okay. Well, we have 6F that says presentation and council PowerPoint. So there, and then for next meeting, we present it to each other, we all approve it, and we're good, right?
Right. So I think that we can start working on this from all of us, especially the ones who are here, and the ones who are not here, we can let them know as well. So we can start getting some of these areas addressed so that we can come up with recommendations. Once we agree on those recommendations as a group, we put them to vote. When it's all approved, then we can put it on the PowerPoint and have our president, our chair in this case, present it to
I
town
could be
council.
president too,
Yeah,
that's okay.
president would be good.
But again, we have agreed on the points already though, right?
Yeah, these are the points, but we can come up in a recommendation format, either form or writing.
Right. What I'm saying, maybe it's just that I'm not understanding.
Yeah.
We're not going to be creating any
No,
new
no.
recommendations.
No.
We're
Just-
set.
This is the framework. We
Yeah.
have a framework right there.
Poor Hector.
Putting the presentation together with this is what we have,
Yeah.
this is how we address
What
A,
we
B,
include on there is a recommendation of the formal task force.
Right,
That's
exactly.
the only thing we haven't talked about, but
Right.
I feel like.
So just to get a feel, because I mean, I committed to 9 months and I really don't know if I want to go past those 9 months.
No, this is,
Is that something you guys are looking to do, or
yes.
you want to stay like in a task force, actively stay?
Oh, I wouldn't
No,
mind at all.
right
but
now, there is no
I-
concept of that. I mean,
Right.
right now, we're not.
Well,
It's a recommendation, but I think it wouldn't be us continue. I think we would
But you
tell
know they're
them.
going to look at you to continue.
Right,
the council will have to
right.
decide.
Yeah,
And you can opt out.
But
Can
you
you
only-
support us on the side if we get
I
approved
would
and do
always
it?
support you, but
go.
understand that
From
I
far
think the
away.
council will come back to you.
That's fine.
Okay,
Fine, I'm willing to commit to that.
all right.
I'm committed to worse. Not the first time or the last time. Okay, so Brandon, do we need, I mean, it's 6F, but do we need a motion to create the presentation to council PowerPoint?
Yeah, what I would do is recommend for you guys to get to that on the agenda. Like,
Okay,
don't
and
skip
then,
the agenda, follow the
Okay.
agenda, and then when you get there. I kind of lost you guys. What are you guys on now? You guys still on reviewing minutes?
we're on W. So 6B,
Okay.
You know, we have mental health issues. We tend to scramble everything. on
We
the
are
agenda.
examples. We lead by example. Grant sponsorships and donation letter pending approval. So I'll tell you guys what that was. What? Michael helped me create a donation letter because I had been talking to people and they're like, oh, okay, that sounds like a great idea. I'll donate. What is it for? I'm like, oh, and I told them, but it looks a little more formal when you have a letter. So I wrote a letter. I gave it to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is going to get it approved by the town and anyone that needs to approve it so we can show it to people that might want to sponsor. I know that I have 3 people already that would want to sponsor some money. You mentioned someone besides myself, my company. I think you have mentioned your company and
They're in for $3,000 for the bank.
So
That's about half the battery.
yeah, so from Elizabeth's note she sent me, she says that Humana will be committing to pay for all the banners. So the logo will be placed on the banners. That she sent an email to their team, and that they haven't answered back to her. But maybe that if Gary, you can follow up with them, for the Humana team. Okay, perfect. Just make sure that you get that to Elizabeth. Perfect. And then on the note of the banners. The other notes that I have, it says you guys need to select 3 to 4 quotes on the banners, which I think she already has 2, which are in the packet, which is on the agenda packet here. And that the quotes that she has are from Gary and from Hector.
I have a quick question about the grant sponsorship and donation letter. Do you have any approval? Did she tell you about any approval regarding the donation letter yet? No?
No, I don't have notes of that.
Okay.
The other notes that I have here written down are regarding the presentation, which you discussed is going to be in August. So
Oh, okay.
that's which is something that you guys discussed to kind of get working on. But besides that, that's the last set of notes that I have here right now.
Okay.
So as far as the donation letter, and again, just technicalities, not that I particularly care, but shouldn't we have approved the letter and submitted it first? Or
No, I only want approval what to write on it because I don't know what to write
but
on
you
it.
submitted like a copy of a letter, right?
Yes, but I don't know what lingo to put on it. I don't know what's allowed by the town. So I wanted that first, and then Elizabeth will present it to us, or I'll present it to us to get the approval. Because what if I write something that's not legally sound?
Then you're liable.
Exactly. So I'm gonna get that approved by the higher ups and then bring it back. Is that good?
Since Humana's paying for all the banners, if you want to get more donations for the thing, is that like cut off?
Well, we received some donation, just so you know, we got some gift cards, commitment from, my company, and as well as the CBA channel for Neighbors for Neighbors. And they also said that once you have something in place, they will also like to put it on their website so that people
Okay.
know about it. So, there are some options there as well.
Perfect.
I would want to sponsor something too and donate too.
But
Yeah.
we could do other stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe even
That's fine, no, I'm just asking.
banners and more banners. No, I don't know. We could do something else. We could do something else, I'm sure,
But the
right?
street sign.
Or paint the road, a flag. We can create a mental health flag. Hector, you want to add more stuff to the list? Okay, we'll go fast. Okay, so Michael, what did you say, Michael?
No,
We have-
as far as the, going back to the number 1, which is A, federal state mental health recommendations, we can take a look at it, but I think that we have a very narrowed scope that Councilman Luis Collazo wanted us to focus. So I think we should remain focused on that.
Sorry. Good.
I like the idea of symposium, but then again, I don't know how much time we have to do all that.
Yeah. Wait, you're
Yeah.
skipping. So 6C, banners. Elizabeth made the prototypes, so let's see if we approve them all. Yeah,
So we gotta come up with 2 or 3 of the things in the last page, right?
Okay, I can turn it off, like, there's something I want to do.
All right.
sorry. What?
Turn your ones into
Okay,
I like that one. I would add on there, and I didn't send anything in, but like just a simple one, like mental health matters. Plain and simple.
Yeah. That says a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we're supposed to do positive things, right? It's not,
Yeah.
so like, firstly, that state positive, better days are on their way. I think that would uplift.
what is
if
it?
I'm
Which
going-
one?
Stay positive, better days are on their way.
So to me, like, I mean, if I'm
Is
going
this for
through,
a sign?
Yeah,
Right.
put this too. Put that.
well, remember, the whole point is to put saints, not just,
No, I know, but okay, I know, I'm sorry, I digress, go. I digress.
so to me, like, for example, and it's fine, it's gonna be one of the ones put, fight the stigma. You know, the stigma of what? I mean, if I'm not putting, hopefully people will get it, but what kind of stigma am I fighting, you know? Now, positive mental health can make life beautiful, he's talking about mental health, and you see what I'm saying? So,
I would say fighting mental health stigma. You know what I mean? That's consistent with,
Fight, yeah, we could add mental health on top.
yeah, fight.
The mental health thing.
Yeah, okay. That's another way to do it. Mhm. That's what activists are.
So add that. Do we need a motion for that?
No.
To add a change to the, all right.
Was
so-
that something that was approved previously?
No, this is for us too.
We're so busy
Still,
on the
okay.
same. Yeah, we just
Right.
wanted the visualization is good. I like it. I like the green, I like the.
So Brandon, do we need a motion to make a change to this paper, even though the paper wasn't officially approved? It was already submitted like it was. All right,
so let's pick 2 or 3, and then we'll make the motion all together.
all right. Okay, perfect. So, I don't know. I like mental health matters. I like
Yeah,
that one.
mental health matters should
Yeah.
be there.
You guys all like that one?
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Gary? Okay.
And that's a cost if it's anything that's.
That's nice. Yeah, we could do, I mean, I think that fits. Do you guys think positive mental health can make life beautiful fit somehow?
Is there a such thing as negative mental health?
There's maladaptive. I don't know. No.
Mental health
I would prefer not to
assistance.
talk about maladaptive at this point.
You know what I mean?
You know,
I
when
mean,
you have to
I'm
I'm
clinic.
just-
overwhelmed with maladaptive.
Okay. I like smile. And you're special. I just like the really, really small ones.
So how about be the reason someone smiles today? I mean, the thing is, it's supposed
But
to be
I
a
don't want to be
saying.
the reason someone smiles. What if I just want to smile for
No,
myself?
because you're bitter
You know?
and stuff, but we need to, remember, it's for the community. It's not for you or for me. It's a community thing that if I read it, it inspires me to do something,
But that's
right?
so big. How are you going to see that?
You don't have to.
Well, it's
struggle in
it's
silence.
4, 6 small words. I mean,
Bless you.
that's,
All right, you want that one?
no. To me, look, stay positive, better days on their way. It's short and sweet, right?
Whatever.
Be the reason
Let's put
someone
it.
smiles.
Which one is it? Which one? Where are you?
Now, something like
Stay positive.
sometimes we're taken into troubled waters, not to drown, but I mean, that's like a huge thing. You know what I'm saying? So find something short and sweet that we can put.
Guys, do you like, you don't have to struggle in silence?
I don't like negative tone personally, but I don't care. We can do it.
No, like.
No.
Let's
I-
stay positive. Better days are on their way.
Little smile.
Okay,
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
everyone like better days are on the way?
Let's make sure that it works across all segments of the population.
Right.
Elderly, veteran, youth.
Everyone has another day.
Right, so we're
Should.
looking forward to the next day.
Should.
And especially after a pandemic, you know, that
We're
we've been
praying
through.
for this.
Pain to not be okay.
So negative.
I love the negative one.
So what was this last one?
Be the reason someone smiles today.
You guys like that one?
No, again, you guys, it doesn't matter.
Oh my God, this is a team effort. You want to leave today?
Stay
Yeah.
positive.
Then
better
this-
days are on the way.
All right, so be the reason someone smiles today. You guys like that one. We all like that one. I like smile. Or you're special. I like your special. Do you guys like your special? I have a mirror in my house that right around the border says, I'm special, I'm special.
The only thing about you're special, it's true, it's good. But I just keep seeing these little faces, counselors have in schools for little kids. Hey, so we want to reach across.
But you're special, everyone's
I
special.
like that you only fail when you stop trying. Is that a negative one?
I don't know, I don't know, but I can't read that when I'm driving. We're gonna be linked to accidents.
I think that's
I
good
think
size.
this is the key. National Mental Health.
You are not alone. That's the flip side of it.
Okay,
Don't
that's not so
struggle in silence.
negative.
But
Okay,
even negative,
do you like You're Not
you are
Alone?
not alone. Don't struggle in
Do you like that one, Hector?
But that's increasing.
I'm okay with it. Listen, I already told them 6:30.
Okay, then answer the question. Do you like You're Not Alone? Go to the bathroom. Do you like You're Not
So
Alone?
look, this is what I would do. Everybody get their top 3, put it out.
Yeah,
It's a
I
vote.
like, yeah, that's a good one.
You know,
All right.
you keep a tally. These are my top 3, his
All
top
right.
3. If
Thank
we can
you.
find 3 that have a majority of the votes. Now, the only problem is we all pick something different, then we're all tied on 1. But let's move it.
All right,
We'll come up with a couple of new ones too on top.
Because they have requested a list to be submitted and for us to choose.
From
You can
here,
bring it up if you have any new ones.
how many
So
we're gonna
I'm gonna-
pick? 6?
3 because we have 2
Only
here.
3? Okay,
Okay, so I'm gonna give you 3. You gonna keep a tally?
Hector.
Okay.
Okay, go.
I like stay positive. Better days are on their way. Be the reason someone smiles today.
Wait. Better.
They're next to each other.
I'm writing it. And the last?
See that stuff.
You think so?
I like. Right, but it's so long.
yeah, I know, but it's what it positive.
So I like turn your wounds into wisdom.
Where'd you see better days?
No, it's something he showed me.
Oh, I digress. What was your second one? Okay. Turn your wounds into wisdom? The one you liked?
Yeah, so that's
All right.
3.
All right,
Gary, pick 3.
Gary,
Any 3
pick
that you
3.
like.
Yeah, you said 4 or 5.
we'll pick one more. Do you like smile? Or you're special? Or you rock? You got this.
So are these 2 considered 2 the ones with the pictures?
Whatever you want.
Are
I
these
need
to be-
one more answer kindly,
Are these
please.
considered part of this?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Anything that's in this
So
packet
even
is
in the
up for.
darkest place, you can find light.
Right. That's not one.
But I'm saying, I don't know if that's to consider. I see it here, but
I think that one's too long, but we're
it's a
going
different
with
format.
Yeah, that's the one that's submitted with that. This one I like because we have female.
Which ones
But
did
we
you want?
cannot put the pictures. Remember, the pictures cannot go on the,
Oh, yeah, we're not in.
it's just the same.
Now pick 3.
I chose
If
4,
you
now
can
you
make 'em
choose.
up, pick
Surprise.
4. Okay, what did you say, Gary? Which ones do you like? The same ones as Hector? Stay positive?
No, yeah.
Even though, okay, so this
No, but
is
vote for
Hector.
it, vote.
Gary, which other one do you like?
She's 1 vote.
Did you like the be the reason
No,
someone
I like
smiled?
the others, okay.
So same ones as Hector? Okay, so Gary.
So we have mental health
Pick 4.
matters.
No. Which 4 do you want? Tell me.
Pick 4. Pick 4 from the list.
You want mental health matters? Okay. No. Whatever you want. Mental health matters.
I like to stay positive, better days are on the way.
Mhm.
You only fail when you stop trying.
Three, you need 1 more.
You still have one more disaster option. One more bomb.
You know it's going negative.
Guys, this gets really dark.
Let's keep it dark. I guess be the reason someone smiles today is my next.
Okay. Michael?
Okay, I got mental health matters.
Mm-hmm.
Illness becomes wellness.
Which one?
Now we're getting, I like that one.
What is it?
I think-
Illness becomes wellness.
Inness
Illness.
Oh,
ILLNESS. Illness.
becomes
Wellness.
See, is that in too negative for you.
Okay, and then the last but not the least, which is tied back to the stigma, never give up on someone with mental health. And I think those are my three.
On someone
On someone with mental health.
with mental health, what?
That's it. That's the way it is.
We all have mental health, well,
No, someone with mental health.
issues.
Issues, whatever. Yeah, you can put issues if you like.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, that's why I just want to leave it at that.
No, I like it, but
No, it's up to you.
how about never give up on you, or no, whatever, Michael.
Take your vote now.
I'll never get
Okay.
I like that. Because the mental health issues is gonna be weird with the issues. Issues, I don't like that word.
Or your mental health is a priority. How about that?
You want that one instead?
Your mental health is a priority. That way, everybody feels positive, and that goes back to positive. to
You're
negative.
tainting the vote.
I love all of
So you think take a vote.
Hold on. I'm gonna pick my own.
Oh,
mental health matters.
That's why you do it secretly and then boom at the same time. Because you're gonna take time.
I'm almost done. All right, what do we do now? Now we have everyone here.
You took a vote, you vote,
I already voted.
tally it.
All right.
Which took up for the, pick
Can
up
I
four
change
with the
my
most votes.
vote for the state positive one? Because I used the last one that you just said.
Pick the four with the most votes.
Can she change her vote? Hurry up, Lindsay. What do you want?
I want to do the last one that we just changed. from
Your
one
mental
that
health is a
Michael-
priority?
Yeah.
She
that
wants
one.
4 or 5. Which are you picking out?
Okay.
You want 4 or 5? Make it easier.
Be the reason someone's mouth say.
Just to give you guys a heads up, there's a YATF meeting at 7 and it's 6:30 already. So you only have like
All
15
right,
minutes.
so the one with the most letters are, your mental health is a priority. You want to write it down so we don't lose it? So these are the 4. Your mental health is a priority.
How many votes did he get?
Excuse me?
How many votes did he get to state?
3.
3 votes.
We don't have 4s, we have 3s.
Okay.
We have stay positive, better days are on their way. Also 3. Tell me when can go on, Lindsay. Be the reason someone smiles today, also 3. And then we have 2 runner-ups. The runner-ups are mental health matters and turn your wounds into wisdom. Those each have 2. And I'm sorry, and then even in the darkest places, you can find light. All those 3 that I said have 2. So we need,
You want my opinion again? 20 banners. 2 are already taken. Okay. 20 divided by 5 is 4 each. If we divide by 6, it's never gonna be an even number.
so we have 5, we're good.
That's what I'm saying.
Perfect.
3 and 2.
So we have 3 and 2 already
We have
made,
to take these 2 that are already made.
and we need 3.
And 3.
Okay.
2, 5 times 4 is 40.
Now we need a motion, right?
Make them.
Brandon,
I'll make a motion
wait,
that those,
let me go back.
that we approve that the 3 sayings that received 3 votes. So in this case being stay positive, better days are ahead. I'm sorry, are on their way. Be the reason somebody smiles today,
And your mental health is a priority.
and your mental health is a priority.
Okay. Anyone want to second that, please? Can I second it?
I said,
Michael. All in favor?
Aye,
Okay.
there you go.
So then I'm gonna write these down here in a minute. All right, flyer. I don't remember if they made the corrections they had to make to the flyer. They didn't?
I don't know. If we don't know it, we move it.
Okay,
Move the item.
table that then?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
You
I
don't have
didn't get
anything.
any update on that.
Okay, because that's just a correction. We
Yeah.
already approved it, but it had like
No,
a typo or
On my
something.
notes, I didn't see anything on that.
So I'm gonna check with Elizabeth. I'm gonna email Elizabeth, right? Email follow up with Elizabeth, sorry. And then 6E, the mental health symposium. That was gonna be, remember Hector, that was gonna be, what's her name again? I forgot right now.
Caitlin,
Caitlin. So this was what I thought. I don't know if you guys agree. We can put it in the recommendations in the PowerPoint. And if it
so at
moves
the last
forward,
meeting, Elizabeth was gonna reach out to Caitlin because she hasn't been coming to the meetings
I don't think
to
she's,
see what work she had done, if anything at all. Do we have an update from Elizabeth on that?
No, I don't have any answer on that either. I can get you guys an answer for that. Have Elizabeth give you guys an email on that to update you guys.
So guess what?
Just like anything else, I'll make notes of these things and I'll have her reach back out to you guys.
Do you want to continue? I mean, I can still reach out to her and I know you're gonna give her the notes. Do you guys just want to continue? Like-
Recommendation.
Right.
The committee, because you're realistically, you're not gonna have time to do that, guys. We have
And-
3 meetings left. and we
Yeah,
have our
yeah.
presentation. That's what it's gonna go next week.
Yeah,
And to do something sloppy and messy and not.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not an option.
So
right?
I,
We can still include it as a recommendation.
so I think for now, as far as a recommendation, what
Good.
we should focus is on what has been happening. Like Elizabeth has been sending us those webinars, whatever, that we could be doing, you know, and if they do create a task force, then that task force can be tasked with creating that symposium.
Exactly.
perfect. So we
Because
just.
because at this point, if nothing's been done
No,
in
we
2
don't.
months, we're
We
not gonna
can't
do
it.
anything.
We
you
can't
know?
do it. So we can put in like a little blurb in the PowerPoint, like, you know,
Right.
in-person, hybrid, whatever. These are options we can do and, okay,
Those are future considerations.
so
So move to 8F.
add to
Let's
PowerPoint.
concentrate on the meat of the.
So 6F, the presentation to council PowerPoint.
So we agreed on August, right?
Yes,
Okay, so first draft, we can have it ready by the next meeting.
yes.
Rosa?
Yes.
So we can, now that we
No,
know.
but the
Who's gonna
thing is,
be-
the first and the last draft has to be done at the next meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in
Yeah, yeah,
August, you
yeah.
have to go to council.
Yes.
Once we have the draft, then we can make the changes and approve it with the changes and maybe.
Right.
Right? So Rosa, we agreed upon that the first draft is going to be put together. We present it to the committee here. And then if there are any changes, amendments,
Right.
deletion, addition,
So-
whatever, we make those
Okay.
changes, approve everything
Okay,
with
so,
the changes.
I mean, I'm not very techy when it comes to presentations like that, but I know you guys
We
are, right?
could do it, we could do it.
So,
Do we need a
Rosa and I
motion,
can do it.
Brandon,
So-
to assign us?
And
to-
Lindsay.
oh,
To Gary's point, he was
Sorry.
saying that the next special needs advisory, your mental health task force meeting in July, right? That's what you guys are discussing bringing in July?
mhm,
mm-mm.
The PowerPoint.
the power.
Yes.
The PowerPoint will be in
Yes.
July.
No,
We have to,
We're,
August.
no, we're gonna meet in July to
correct,
approve the PowerPoint
correct,
till August.
correct, to discuss the PowerPoint internally. But you have to see if there's even a meeting in August, because I know sometimes the council meetings don't happen in August. So you might have to push that presentation back to September. or
September,
move it
yeah,
up
which
to-
is okay.
Okay, wait,
And that's
does
fine.
the council meeting happen after our meeting?
In August?
No, in July?
The council meeting is July 13th.
And our
Yes.
meeting is the 20-something.
Yeah, so it's before.
So don't worry about that. Ed.
Leave
So
it
here we
for-
go. Simply because you know I love motions, right? So I will make the motion that, Gary, I assume you're not very techy like me, right? So that you three, right, are gonna create a PowerPoint, take whatever, within the next 3 weeks, you will submit it to Elizabeth, right? Elizabeth can submit that to us before the meeting, right, the PowerPoint? So we can review it. So when we come to the meeting, hopefully we have an idea what's going on, right?
Okay, that's
So
good.
the motion will be that you three will create a PowerPoint presentation to be presented to town council tentatively in the August meeting. That's why it's tentatively in the August meeting. That's it. 3 weeks. So now feel free to second if you want.
So that's the motion.
It's seconded.
Oh, you got it.
Who is it? So send out via email for approval
Lindsay,
for corrections, right? Michael, it's too late.
so powerful.
So take the vote and then we'll finish that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, right, so you send it to her in about 3 weeks. That gives us a week to receive it from her, to review it, and then when we come to the meeting,
We give out. a-
right, if we don't think, hey, I didn't like this, or I thought we needed to.
Change this,
focus
add
on
that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I-
Yeah.
Anytime we come back, it'll be done.
Yeah,
Right.
I
Perfect.
think it's a good idea.
Okay, any announcements?
No.
All right.
Time to go.
Adjournment, so we're adjourning the meeting at 6:28 PM.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone. All in favor or a motion?
To adjourn the meeting.
To adjourn? Michael,
The meeting.
and second?
Seconded.
Okay. All in favor? Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good night.
I know I drive you crazy, but we gotta stay focused, people. Why are we always so nervous that people have AIDS? No, no, no. I just know that, yeah, just like I will write, hey, we're done, right? Huh? The mic is still live?
Yeah, that's.
to see if it works. Hold on. Testing. All right, see if this works. Go ahead.
Hello.
One more time.
Hello.
One more time.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Perfect. So I'll mute myself until I hear something, or if you say, Christina, can you chime in? Then I'll unmute, okay? But I'll keep myself muted, okay?
That sounds good. That sounds good. All right, let me put you. All right. Yeah, we could start it up.
All righty, everyone. My name is Brian Rodriguez. I'm the chairman for the Youth Activities Task Force here in the town of Miami Lakes, and I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. Is our secretary here? I don't think so. Does anyone want to volunteer to be the secretary for this meeting?
I'll do it.
All right, so we have Moritz. Moritz, please take the roll.
Brian Rodriguez,
Present.
Eric Grass, Flavia Nunez, Nancy Matos, Elica Quintero,
Present.
Ariana Rejas, Juan Rodriguez,
Present.
Eddie Cedeño, Eric Valerdi,
Present.
Leila Cobiella, Maurice Acosta, present. Mark Gomez,
Present.
Daniel Gonzalez,
Present.
Josh Rios, Mario Pineda III.
Present.
Perfect. So we do have quorum. And we are going to move on. Before we move on to public comments, I just want to make a note. We do have 3 new committee members. We have Daniel Gonzalez, Josh Rios, and Mario Pinera. Welcome to the committee. You guys actually made it to one of the biggest meetings that we have all year, which is our budget meeting. So welcome.
Welcome, guys.
Probably one of our longest and toughest meetings that we'll have. All right. So we'll move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, I have a public comment. I just wanted to call the attention to the members of a concern that I've noticed, especially in subcommittee meetings, which is the lack of participation. At the previous subcommittee, we had 3 members show up, 3 members. You know, quite frankly, in my opinion, I do not think that's, what we strive for as a committee. And I urge more committee members, especially once you make a commitment, to be there. And of course, I understand when something happens and someone can't be there. It's not the same thing as someone who's there every time and then misses one time. But in the subcommittees, I've noticed especially that most of the time it's the same people and there's always a lack of participation in subcommittees. So I just wanted to let the committee know of that. And that's a concern I have. And I urge committee members to participate more after they signed up for a subcommittee. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Moritz. And I will be going over that more when we get into the meeting, so don't worry about that. Do we have any more public comments, Ernie?
Yeah, just wanted to give you guys a quick briefing. There was a young lady who I just met right now. I did not know that she was part of the Youth Activities Task Force. Her name is Nancy Matos, for those who may or may not know. She was, this was officially her last day in the Youth Activities Task Force. She will no longer be assisting us or being part of the committee simply because she had she's going through a very personal issue with one of her parents. I know that he's not doing very well. I believe it was her father who she was mentioning. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up as to that, just so you can be aware of the situation.
Perfect. Thank you, Ernie. And Nancy, if you are watching or hearing us, our prayers are with you. And if you need anything, please reach out. All right. Any more public comments before we move on? And actually, I do want to do something before we move on with public comments. I want all the new committee members to introduce themselves. It is a tradition here in the committee. So we'll start with Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Gonzalez, as was mentioned.
I actually used to be part of the Youth Activities Task Force about 4, 5 years ago when I was back in high school, and I left, during college. But now I'm back again. I have a bit more time on my schedule and able to manage my schedule a bit better. That I wanted to come back to contributing and volunteering here in Miami Lakes. I really enjoyed my time at the Youth Activities Task Force back then, and I look forward to doing more good things going forward.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel. And then we'll go to Josh Rios.
Good? Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Josh Rios. Thank you guys for having me. I was appointed by Councilwoman. Oh, sorry. Hey, you can use this. Hello? Good? 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 Okay. So I was appointed by Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano this past council meeting. It was an honor to be appointed by her to this Youth Activities Task Force. A little background about myself. I'm 20 years old. I currently attend University of Florida, so go Gators. So right now I've been in Miami ever since the COVID hit, and ever since then I've been trying to get involved in my community and in politics. But before that, when I was 17, 18 years old, I was elected by student government officials across the county in high school to represent them as a student advisor to the school board. And that position allowed me to sit on the school board alongside the superintendent and school board members and voice opinions on behalf of 350,000 kids I had to represent in the school district. And I was able to pass 2 items in there. One of them, which Eric was with me in the youth commission for, was to curb food waste in our public school system while getting rid of childhood hunger in Miami-Dade County. So that was a huge thing we were able to do through homeless shelters and through food pantries. So ever since then, I kind of had a passion for education and for the youth. So I'm hoping to help here, and thank you guys so much for having me. I'm looking forward to helping the youth here in Miami Lakes, and hopefully it trickles down to Miami-Dade County as well. So thank you guys.
Okay, very good. And then we have Mario. Go ahead.
Hi guys, my name is Mario Panera. I was appointed here by Carlos Alvarez, and it is a great honor to be serving with you guys and putting forth our hours to help our community and the young. I've also been here multiple times to represent the homeless throughout Miami-Dade County. We actually have 4 meters in the town, which I had help with at Bob Graham Education Center. We came and proposed. Those meters fund for food, shelter, and new housing all across Miami-Dade with the Homeless Trust.
Okay, very good. Now we're just waiting Brian to get back.
All right. So thank you. You spoke, correct? Cool. So thank you to all the new committee members for joining and being part of this committee. Like you, Josh, I am also appointed by Marilyn. She's awesome. So whenever you need her, reach out to her. She's always available, has an open door policy. So feel free to always reach out to her and enjoy yourself here in the committee. And I know all of you will enjoy it. Welcome back, Daniel. We missed you after a while. You're an amazing committee member, and we're glad to have you back. And Mario, I know a lot about you. So I'm excited to see your potential here in the committee, okay? Perfect. So we'll close public comments and we'll move on to order of business, deferrals, additions, deletions. Do we have any additions or deferrals that we want to move from the committee?
Yeah, one addition would be the motion, the approval of the minutes.
Perfect. So we'll add that to 4A. And I'll also, I'm going to amend your motion as well to add another item, which is going to be 4B, which is the participation of committee members in joining, just participation for committee members as 4B. Do we have anything else that anyone wants to add or delete? Do we have a second? So we have a second for the motion by Eric Valerdi. Do we have any discussion?
Just quickly, is that second for both motions or?
So basically, he motioned it, I amended it, just taking his motion, so I'll take the whole motion. Yeah. Perfect. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. So we'll move on to 4A, which is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. You should have a copy of it in front of you. Please take a look at it for a few minutes so we can approve these minutes. If you see anything that has to be changed, please feel free to motion for that change or to bring it up.
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. So we'll move on to item 4B, which is participation of the committee members in the committee. And I want to thank Moritz from earlier for bringing that up. I was going to bring it up in this meeting since we do have new committee members and go into a little bit more detail. You have all joined this committee to help the community and work to better the community and the youth in the community. I hate saying this because I say it over and over again, and I do it for a reason, to keep everyone motivated and to know why they are here. You were appointed for a reason, and we want you to stay here and help as much as possible. When you join this committee, there are some things that you need to know. If you miss 3 meetings in the whole budget year, not 3 in a row, 3 meetings, you will be removed from the committee. Please keep that in mind. Also, I think we are working on it, and I have to make sure with Christina is if there is a mandatory attendance for events. I believe you have to be a part of at least 50% of our events in the town. The Youth Activities Task Force has one of the most, or has the second most events in the town of Miami Lakes. So please keep that in mind. First, the first position is Elderly Affairs, then the Youth Activities Task Force. It is very difficult for a committee to put an event together when committee members do not show up. For example, if myself or Moritz by ourselves with the town liaison for our committee shows up to an event, and it's a big event, how do you expect us to put it together by ourselves? And secondly, how does it look on our committee? Also, the council members do look at that. So if you don't show up to events and you don't show up to meetings, they take that into account and will remove you from the committee. And I'm not going to be shy to say either, I look at that as well, and I speak to the council members. As chair, I do have that ability. Even before I was chair, I did that. And I've been here for over 9 years. So please keep that in mind. We do look at that, and we try to get everyone here and be part of the committee. Like I said, I've been here for 9 years. Out of those 9 years, I have not missed one meeting. And if I was not here for a meeting, I was on the phone in the meeting. Whether I was on vacation, when I was working in Washington for the US Senate, anywhere, I was there for that meeting. So just keep that in mind, guys, okay? I know you guys have everyday lives, but you join this committee, make a commitment to show up to these meetings. It's 1 meeting a month, and we don't have events every single month. All right? Everyone got it? Understands? Perfect. And thank you to all of you that have showed up to our events. We truly do appreciate all of you. And if it wasn't for you guys, these events wouldn't be possible and our committee wouldn't be here. All right. So we'll move on to does anyone have anything else on item 4B before we move on?
Yes, Ryan, a question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want clarification.
Can we get you a mic?
Hello. I just wanted clarification. I think Moritz mentioned subcommittee meetings. I didn't think that those were. I mean,
Yes,
sometimes
so-
we have more people that
So
participate in those.
thank you for bringing that up for subcommittee meetings, because I talked about it earlier and I forgot to bring it up in the meeting. When it comes to subcommittee meetings, they are not mandatory. But If you sign up for a subcommittee meeting, please do what you can to show up to that subcommittee meeting, because it keeps you, one, informed, two, you get your input on the event and how we want to put it together, and three, it looks bad on you when you don't show up for a subcommittee meeting that you signed up for. All right. The reason I say this, and Moritz, I know you said it earlier, when it comes to some of our events, believe it or not, in a subcommittee meeting, one person can make the decisions for the whole event. Does that sound fair? No. So since one person can make a decision for a whole event, I think it's better for the whole committee to make decisions, or whoever signs up for that subcommittee. Yeah, we've had subcommittees in the past that have one person, but that's because no one else signed up for it. But if you put your name and we ask you, or when we say who wants to be part of this subcommittee, and you raise your hand and we put your name on that paper, we do expect you to be there. Yeah, it's not mandatory, but it looks bad on you. And you're only hurting yourself. Unfortunately, I don't like being like this, but it is the truth. Right? Most of us are adults, if not young adults, and we all have to be responsible for what we sign up for and what we are doing, okay? All right, anything else before we move on?
Yes, a question for the chair. Brian, I believe we had some discussion a couple of months ago regarding making it mandatory for minors under the age of 18, the same rule that applies to adults, which is currently if you miss 3 meetings, you are out. I believe that rule currently does not apply to minors. However, is there a way we can do that?
Yes, so we did vote on it. So I have to actually meet with the clerk for the town and the town attorneys and make sure that it has gone through and it is in place, and with the town council. Unfortunately, I've been working and I haven't been able to do that, and their schedules are not like mine, and they're only available in the morning. And I work from the morning till 30 minutes before this meeting. So I will try to get in contact with them to see where we are in that, and I will bring an update to you guys at the next meeting if I can. All right?
So in other words, the vote we made was like we had the power to do that?
We do have the power to do that. Once we vote on that, we do have, because it is changing the amendment of our committee, we do have to bring it up to council and they have to vote on it. All right? And I will make sure, that's what I was told, but it could be different. We could make our own amendments. I know there's a difference between committee rules and then the actual committee itself having their rules. There may be something different there, so I will look into that for you. Okay? All right, so we'll move on from item 4B to item 5, which is the summer event. This event is a line item of ours, formerly known as the Ice Cream Social. The committee voted last year to change the whole event and rebrand it. So we are here to bring up, and we have money for this event. So we do have to talk about it and to go over what we're going to do with it. Before we do go on with it, I was told by Christina, and Ernie, if you could speak to her to make sure if we're right or wrong. Christina, can you hear us? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
We had to move money, correct? For police escorts?
Correct. We need to move money to the spring fling line item.
All right, so should we just open up additions and order of business again and add that as a separate line item?
You can do that under budget. You have a section for that already. You can do that when you guys discuss budget, since that does have to deal with the budget.
So we'll bring that up after. But we do have a budget for the summer event, and I want to see some ideas. We did vote on this as a committee to rebrand the event and change the event completely. So if you guys, I'm sorry? Yes. It was rebrand the event. It was to rebrand the event, which meaning rebranding means changing the event from what it was. Christina, can you clarify if it was rebranding or changing the name?
If it was changing the name, I had quite a lot of it. If it was rebranding, then we should be fine.
We can go back and look up the minutes, but I believe we got input from several sponsors. They did talk about changing the name so it wasn't limiting and, you know, doing different things for the event. But I know that we do all have the minutes deep down in our email somewhere. So if anybody wants to look at that, or we can get back to you once we locate the minutes that do mention that motion.
Perfect. Yeah, if you could get those minutes for us, that would be awesome, just so we know exactly what we're working with. But I do know basically when we did speak about it, we had spoken of keeping the whole ice cream social type of theme, but bringing in more of a summer event when it comes to this event, where we can make it more of like hanging out with family in the park and just like almost like a picnic style event type of thing. More of a family day than doing anything else. Instead of one of our more extravagant events, this is a more low key hang out with family, get free ice cream, things like that. So go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, so I remember a little bit at that meeting. We talked, it must have been like a year and a half. I mean, this was a while ago. It was, we should probably definitely go back to the minutes, but it was about rebranding. I think we were still trying to incorporate the whole ice cream theme with it. I know we remember, I know it never was something that we thought would actually be able to be done with some sort of water theme or something else thrown around. And I think, like you said, something that would just encompass more than just the ice cream. But I think we were trying to stick with ice cream at that event and the whole thing. So I think it was part of everything else.
Yeah. So
I remember it was ice cream and you wanted to incorporate water. My question to you is, if you want, what I'm looking at the budget, it's $500. If you want to keep the free ice cream, I mean, when is the summer event realistically? In a couple of months?
So in my opinion, at this point, I think we're open to, do we want to even have an event? What do we want it to be like? And then go from there.
So we do have to have an event because it is on, it is a line item.
So then what month do we do it? Getting a lot of, I mean, I would know, getting a lot of those sponsors is super difficult. And I mean, with $500, you're just going to be looking at a very small event.
Yeah, of course. I completely understand. Unfortunately, with COVID, it won't be a big event. And we saw that with the bike rodeo. What we had was not what we wanted, but we have to go with what we have at the end of the day.
What's the cutoff for the budget?
We expected a lot more in the bike rodeo, and we only had maybe 200 people show up to the whole event. So that's just an estimate. So I'm just saying we can't expect as many people to show up, but we have to do something for this event. Josh?
Let me ask real quick. Are we regulated to have these events be restricted in terms of population, like because of COVID, or just people aren't showing up because?
Both.
Both. Okay. And what is our restriction right now in terms
So
of?
I know it's changed a lot because of the
Vaccine?
because they keep raising the restrictions and lifting restrictions and the whole vaccine. So I don't know where the town stands with that. The town may have different rules when it comes to our events than the state of Florida or the actual US government lifting stuff.
Okay.
So we would have to go more with what the town recommends when it comes to the size of our event and people. I think we were given for bike rodeo at a cap as well. If Mark, you would know.
I believe it was 400 individuals
Yeah.
is what we had capped it at.
So just keeping that in mind. Usually this event happens in July, which is next month. Honestly, it doesn't have to be a big event. Seeing with how our event went this past weekend, it doesn't have to be something crazy. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do because with advertising, we would have to pick everything today.
I have one question. Would this be the last event for the fiscal year, for the
Yes.
budget year? Okay. And
Actually,
then,
yeah, sorry.
okay. And then, so basically we have, if it's going to be a summer theme, we would have until mid-August to do this event,
is true.
right? So we would have to start planning it already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I don't know if
Do we
we
want
have
to
to
make
get into the budget already, but maybe we should just plan a subcommittee meeting already as soon as we can, so we can already start getting, I guess, the ball rolling on this
All right.
event.
So I'll motion to create a summer event subcommittee that has no name yet.
Just to give us a little more time. Does it have to be summer, or we have until October 1st, basically?
We do have until October 1st
They
as
saved
well.
us a month. It's not a big deal.
Since it doesn't have a name, we can work with it.
Just an
So-
FYI, September 30th is the cutoff for the budget. Okay, so you guys are aware.
Got it. So since that is our cutoff, October 1st, I believe, starts our new budget year. I think we would have a little bit of leeway working with this event because one, it's not named, and two, it's not dated on our budget.
I have a question.
Yes.
We have a cutoff of September 30th, correct? And school starts before that. Why don't we make this event kind of like a back to school thing?
Well, that was an idea that we've had in the past, that we talked about at that meeting that we voted to change the whole name.
Like a back to school fun day. You know what I mean? It could be incorporated. We can incorporate water, like maybe not water slide, but the slipping slide.
Here's
could do
the
that,
problem
right?
with water. And I'm only bringing this up because the town brought it up to me and crushed my dreams, but because I wanted to do the whole water slide extravaganza, water balloons and fun things like that. It destroys grass. A lot of water destroys grass in the parks. Well, that was the only issue.
Are we doing this at Picnic Park or are we doing this at the
It
other
would
park?
most likely be at Picnic Park West. Because we don't want to do it on cement where if someone falls or slips, then we have an issue.
And we can't do water balloons because if we hit
Because of the
somebody,
environment.
it could be environment.
Yeah. So, Ernie?
This is just something for you guys to be aware of. Planning for Halloween starts in August, and meetings begin in September, which Christina was just mentioning. It's a very big undertaking. So just so you guys know.
That is true. Halloween is the committee's second biggest event next to Spring Fling. And even during COVID, we had a bigger turnout than we thought we would ever have with a drive-through. That line did not stop. And for those that were there, they saw it. So just keep that in mind. The later we do this event, the less time it gives us for the second biggest event in our committee.
Brian, I believe you motioned to establish a subcommittee, correct?
Yep, and that motion is still open. Do
Can
have a second?
we, I don't know, I think last time we had to amend it to include that the subcommittee has all power.
Yeah, so since the motion is still open, hasn't been seconded, I'll add that to my motion to give the subcommittee the full power for the event, meaning they can plan the whole event. Go ahead. Second, yeah. So the motion is to create a subcommittee for our summer-ish time event. And giving full power to the subcommittee to make decisions.
For what is it,
regarding
the
this.
summer?
At the subcommittee, will we be able to decide whether we want to make it like a back to school event?
Yes.
Or, okay,
I believe so. I think naming it though, because it is a actual line item. When it comes to naming the event, that does have to come back to the committee. The subcommittee can talk about it and then present it back to the committee at the next meeting. If we do have a subcommittee meeting in between.
So is it a motion to create a subcommittee for what is the name, summer? What can we call it for summer?
For the summer line item.
9 item with full power, full authority to,
Well, there's, yes, full authority, but there are restrictions. And the restrictions are just the big things like the name and stuff like that.
but that's standard.
Yeah, that's the standard.
And seconded by Mark?
Gomez. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. So the fun part, who wants to be part of this subcommittee?
I'll join, and do you want to co-chair, Mario? Okay, we'll co. If that's okay with the committee.
Okay, so you guys want to be co-chairs?
She looking at him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, can be secretary?
Yeah, we do have to nominate a secretary.
I volunteer.
Okay, so Mertz will be the secretary. And it's going to be co-chaired by Elika and Mario. Okay, so anyone else want to be part of the subcommittee? Mark, so let me just write this down. So I have Elika, Mario, Moritz. Daniel, Mark. Who else said they want to join? Eric?
Yeah.
Ariana, you said you wanted to join? Anyone else? And I'll put myself on there too. Perfect. So we do have a subcommittee form, meaning, like I brought up earlier, we expect all of you to be there to plan this event. And since this is an event with a very small budget, we need sponsors. Got it? So if you guys know anyone that would be willing to sponsor, and I wouldn't go to them just yet, wait until we have at least an idea of what this event's going to be, then we could start looking for sponsors. Okay? Yeah.
Do we have a sponsor for the ice cream?
Yes, many. When we talk about it in the subcommittee, I will definitely tell you who I've gotten to sponsor all these events. I know some people like Automall. They're always good, so they'll probably sponsor.
Perfect. Do we have anything else for this event that we wanted to add? Or do we want to leave it to the subcommittee for right now?
Quick question regarding subcommittees in general. I believe it has to be physical, correct?
Yes. Subcommittees are no longer through Zoom. And I think we saw that with the last subcommittee where it had to be in person. So please keep that in mind. Subcommittee meetings are no longer on Zoom and online. All meetings from now on have to be in person. That doesn't mean subcommittee meetings have to be here. If I'm correct, in the past, we've had subcommittee meetings at Mary Collins. At least as long as it's in a public town-owned facility, we can have that subcommittee meeting there. So if one day we don't have this available, and we'll make sure with Christina in the town that they're allowing that now, we can maybe have a subcommittee meeting in Mary Collins if we had to, if we needed a day.
We could look into that. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Brian, before we continue, I do want to reconsider, or have you reconsider the possibility of having some kind of event involving water and water slides. It has been done in the past as personal experience. I have seen it. It has played out fairly well because we've done it over again in my previous employment. It's been done over and over again. So it's something that maybe we can possibly explore. It doesn't necessarily have to be at Mary Collins.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm all up for it. Trust me. And for those that have been in the committee for a while, I have been trying to do a water event for a long time.
I like the idea of a water event. The only thing is I think Mary Collins does have a big pool on people, like the bike rodeo event. I think it would have been so much better if we could have done it at Mary Collins, but I know because of COVID and everything we didn't. But I think it's important to have it at Mary Collins just because we take our typical spot.
I do understand that, but I also think that Royal Oaks would be a great spot to have. It's an open field.
Here's the problem with Royal Oaks.
Fields.
Yes, so I'm going to be devil's advocate here. And I learned this from one of my previous chairs. There always has to be a devil's advocate. When it comes to some of these locations, one, parking is horrible. Royal Oaks has probably the worst parking of all the parks in the town. So, because it doesn't have street parking. So when it comes to Royal Oaks, that is one of the hardest places to do an event. Although it's one of the biggest spaces, it's one of the hardest because of parking. So keep that in mind for the subcommittee meeting when we are meeting, that Royal Oaks, yes, is an amazing option. But just keep in mind, if let's say for some reason we get a crazy amount of people coming, think about the parking. Where are they going to park? Because then they start parking in houses.
And optimistic is a no because of the baseball.
Usually, and also that too, Optimist does have the baseball, and Royal Oaks also has football and soccer.
Football is over, as I believe, so they just have soccer.
Okay. Yeah, and soccer is usually on Saturdays. So, and most of our events are on Saturdays.
Are you talking about the big field like behind the house? Okay.
Can we do this in
Yeah.
the subcommittee meeting?
What happened?
The subcommittee meeting? We could do this.
Yeah, we'll leave this for the subcommittee meeting.
Do
Go on.
Somebody.
So before we move on to the budget, I'm gonna motion to move the budget down and move to bike rodeo. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
So we have a second. Who seconded? Mario. To move to, I did. The only reason I am motioning, and we have a motion and second, so we're open to discussion. The only reason I'm motioning is because this is gonna be quick. We can finish off with the budget and get at it. So does we have any more discussion about moving to bike rodeo? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. So we'll move on to item 7, which is unfinished business for the bike rodeo recap. Officer Juan, you have the floor.
Bike rodeo this year was a success, even though it did not have that many people. It did have like the inkling of being like it was in the past, just like it was, I guess, open to everybody. I think we'd have done it with just one bike rodeo, but I guess we didn't know, so we had to do it in the morning and afternoon. We did have participation. The actual people that we had there as far as the sponsors and the booths and everything else was pretty good. And next year we might have some more. But I think to kick off like a COVID-19 rebirthing of events, it was very, very good. And I thought it was a big success.
Yeah, I'll have to agree on that. Thank you to everyone that was there. We had Mark, Daniel, myself, Aleka, Eric, Moritz, and Ariana, as well as Ernesto. Thank you for stepping up and helping us there. We do appreciate you. When it came to this event, yes, we didn't have the most amount of people. One, I would say because we were in a bigger space, there were a good amount of people there in the first round. We were in a space like 5 times bigger than what we usually do it. So it didn't look like as many people. I'd say we had a pretty good turnout for our first event back. Yeah, we're still in the pandemic, unfortunately, so we aren't expecting as many people to come, but it was a good kickoff back to the event. We had more things than we thought that would have shown up to our event. We had Miami-Dade County come in to do the bike safety courses for us, and a few different organizations that came to help out with us. And I thank you, Juan, for being there and helping us out. One other thing that I wanted to bring up for future reference. This location was one of the best locations for this event. The only reason I say that is because one, Mary Collins is a lot smaller and there was only one bike course. We had 5 bike courses at this event. So you had 5 different things for people to do while they were riding their bikes. As well as it was more open. There weren't people on top of each other. You didn't really have to wait to do anything. I think the only line we had was for the helmets. So I'd like to just keep that in mind for the next time we do this. I don't see us getting rid of this event being the 2nd oldest event in the town, and our oldest event here in the committee. I think this venue might be a good venue to maybe keep it in for the future. And some of you may agree with me, some of you may disagree with me. It's always good to break some types of tradition to better the event. So some other things that I did want to bring up with this event were it was hot, extremely hot, over 90 degrees hot with no shade. And I said that 3 times because it was hot. We usually do this event in March or April. Please, let's never do this event again in June. I know at one point, Juan, you had said that we had done this in December. But I don't think they want us to do it in December, correct?
It's done the first week of December, and then we moved it to March. So, oh, and I wanted to congratulate Robin here. He did a lot of the contacting the.
And thank you, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have had a lot of things there, and it was amazing. I was there. Everyone was having a good time, and just enjoying the event in general. But yeah, Juan, you said it used to be in December.
Right.
So moving forward, keep that in mind. Maybe doing it a little bit earlier. Doesn't have to be December. The only reason I see, go ahead.
You know, I think we put it to March because supposedly March is bike month.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
National
bike safety month, if I'm not mistaken.
So March is pretty good. It could be hot, not like
And yeah, I think that's a good thing to take into account is let's keep it where we usually have it every year. The only reason we did it this year during June is because we didn't know what our restrictions were. So we kind of kept it back a little bit just to see if restrictions lifted, which they did, and allowed us to have the event. Yeah. Yeah. And a few things with this event. Like I said, the Trick Stars were there. It was awesome. We finished right before the rain came in, and it looked like a hurricane outside after. I've never seen our committee pick up an event that fast. So props to you. It usually takes us a lot longer, and we were running. And I do want to thank to put it on the record, to thank the Public Safety Committee for coming out and assisting us at the event. I think it was a good thing that we invited them to that event because it is a bike, rodeo, and safety day, and public safety doesn't really have much or many events. So I'd like to see if we could partner up with them in the future, not only for this event, for other events. I know Nancy, the chair of the public safety, has come to most of our events and has volunteered in some fashion. So Nancy and the rest of your committee, thank you for being there and helping give out helmets and assisting with the event. You guys were amazing and helped us a lot. We only had 3 volunteers from high school volunteers. So it was 4, okay. So it was very difficult for us to try to be everywhere at once, trying to put the event together. So with them helping, it was awesome. And always in the future, keep in mind, we could always collaborate with other committees, not just that committee. We've collaborated with multiple committees before. So neighborhood improvement, we've collabed with a bunch of them, cultural affairs, whatever committee it may be. If they have something that they want to bring to the table, I'd love for them to bring it because it just adds to our event and makes it better. So keep that in mind. And thank you, Juan, for putting together the bike rodeo and the rest of the committee. I'd say it was a success, although we didn't have the turnout we wanted. I'd say for our first event back, it went pretty well.
Just for the record, I just wanted to piggyback a little bit off of what Brian was speaking about. This committee is on the right track. We could always find little ways to better the events, but there is no doubt in my mind that we did what we had to do, and the event was a success. And as what Brian and what Juan was mentioning, that due to the heat and the unkindness of it, I know a lot of people may have been drawn away from it. But nevertheless, everyone here that was present at the bike event did a stand-up job, a really, really good team effort. And I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, and Councilman or Vice Mayor Collazo was out there enjoying the event with everyone. And he saw that we were having a good time, and he liked what he saw. Although we didn't have the turnout, it's always good when they like what they see, even though we don't have the amount of people that they expect to be there, which means hopefully we can have the same budget next year for that event and we don't have to cut anything from it. All right.
And it's also good to have staff that has the experience.
Yes. Thank you, staff, for being there. You guys did an awesome job.
It was all you guys, not all you guys.
Speaking of staff, I want to put it on the record to thank Lorenzo Cobiella, Deputy Town Attorney, who was there helping out Nancy in the Public Safety Committee. He showed up to help. So I wanted to thank him as well.
He was like Superman when it came to helmets. He showed up out of nowhere. I don't know where he came from, but he was giving out helmets. I'm like, okay, there we go. But yeah, thank you to everyone that was there. Do we have anything else regarding Bike Rodeo? Any other comments for those that were there?
Yeah, actually, just wanted to make it a point. Listen, and this is just for future events and future reference for everyone here. I know and I understand that we may have certain instances that may arise, and you have to go, you have to leave. Just for future reference, if in a case where something like that may happen and you just have to go, don't just leave unannounced or unattended, just simply because we are there and we kind of have to take responsibility of the members who are present. So if you happen to leave, just make it a point to let someone know. Okay. This is just for future reference and just to have everybody on the same page. So we won't go around trying to look for, you know, a particular someone and they may not be there. Okay.
Yeah, and I thank you for saying that, because at the end of the day, if one of us does leave and doesn't tell anyone, and let's say we're covering a specific part of that event, there's no one covering that event or that part of the event anymore. So thank you, Ernesto. Does anyone else have anything on bike rodeo before we move on to the fun part of the meeting?
I'll ask just one thing. Do we know what the final number of folks that went to the bike rodeo was?
You counted 99? Okay. All right.
Alright,
According
So
to
that's
Mr. Valerde.
counting 99 with the Eventbrite.
Yeah.
Okay,
Awesome.
so that's not counting families, or that may be counting families.
That's
No,
probably
that-
individuals that signed in.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, so
Awesome.
yeah, we could average a little bit higher.
Yeah, there were more tickets sold
Okay.
or acquired, but
Cool.
it was a total of 99, which again I still find very good.
Perfect, which isn't far from what we wanted for our first half of the event. So good job, guys. So then we'll close off with, go ahead.
No, it's about something else. I can add something to the agenda. Are we done with this? We're closing this? You're done? Did you have anything else?
Let me add something real quick before we
Oh,
go
go
on
ahead.
to the
Go ahead.
meeting. Pertaining to this, about marketing and stuff like that. I know the town has their own Instagram and their own, social medias. Do we have our own? For the Youth
So
Activity Task Force?
I've tried this for so many years. Trust me, most of the things you're gonna bring up when it comes to marketing, I've already brought up before. The town doesn't really want us to have our own Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. I've tried it in the past, and because they have their own social media team, so it makes it harder. I agree with you. I'd love to have a social media account.
On that note, is there any way that we can ask for a reconsider? Because I know that there's other, I guess, agencies within the town that have social media
Branding.
accounts. So just I guess, is there any way that we can
Yeah, I'm all for it.
reconsider it?
I'm all for doing the social media.
Is that
stuff.
something that we have to
That's
do, or is
something
that
that
something that we have to present to the town
That might,
council?
so because it is using the town logo and things like that and stuff happening within the town that they own the rights to, we may have to bring that up to the council and the town.
We should, but I also think it's important to remember that you have social media to post it out there. Make sure that you kind of put it out there, because if you have a big following, then it's important that
Yeah.
all of your followers know where we are at.
Yeah, but I do agree with you with the social media thing, and we'll bring it to them because that's important.
So would we be the ones who run it, or
That's the
them?
question.
Yeah,
We are not town employees.
I think so too.
So
But maybe like
since-
the secretary or we have a
So-
social media.
so-
manager.
So here's the thing, and I'll bring up some rules. I studied PR and marketing, so I'm 100% with you when it comes to advertising and social media stuff with our committee. Here's the problem. Like I said before, the town owns the right to everything with our committee. When I say they own the rights to everything, the logos, the flyers, everything. Technically, and I'll give you an example, this shirt, you cannot wear it anywhere unless you're at a youth or a town event or at a meeting. So keep that in mind. You cannot be wearing and especially us as volunteers, we're not being paid by the town. So it's easy for us to get kicked off very easily for violating that rule. Right? We're not being paid, so they could just, with a snap of a finger, we're gone. So keep that in mind.
So I think like Mark, yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm not being scary. I'm being
So
realistic.
I think I think we should push this to the I think this is something we should definitely talk about, and we should probably add to the agenda next time. I think, like Mark said, there's other, I think there might be ways that we could do something, but I think it's a good discussion to have. But I think we should add it to the agenda
That's
next
fine.
time to make sure it's there.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's
Because I
not,
think that
it's
this
not
should be
to
a
be-
This
timely
is a long
discussion.
conversation.
Just on the
Yeah, I think
record,
it's a good
just
idea.
on the record, it's not to be scary. It's the truth. We've tried this before. Multiple.
But I think if we have like a good plan and present it in a certain way, we might be able to do this. So I think we should add it to the agenda and just talk about
Josh.
it next time. Take a little time to talk.
Yeah,
All right,
do-
Josh.
Do we want to have like an official notice on you, let's say the chair on behalf of the committee as chairman?
So what I'll do is, we have quarterly committee chair meetings. I'll bring it up to that meeting and see what they say, because that's with the town council as well as the attorneys of the town, so they know all the laws when it comes to the copyright issues. And that rule that I just brought up to you about the shirts and stuff has been brought up there every single meeting that I'm in at that meeting. So I'll definitely bring it to them and talk to them about it and see what we could do, because that's probably the best place to bring it up.
So just for clarity, is it a legal thing or is it just a social media that they want to have
Legal.
control of everything? It's a legal thing.
Legal.
Okay.
Because of the logos and the flyers and using the Miami Lakes name and things like that, everything is copyrighted.
Thank you so much.
I don't believe so, or do they?
None.
Which, okay.
I think that there might be another committee that has some sort of social media.
I believe so too. I think I've seen something. I'll do some research on that.
Go for it.
Like I know in the county, because I'm also in the county, the Parks and Recreation Committee. I know that there's other committees that have their own thing. I don't know how the county works
Of
compared
course,
to
there's
here.
different rules and
Course.
regulations. I know, the only reason I was saying to be careful with that is
Yeah.
because we tried it in the past. And one, it's, here, there's some things is, one, we're not permanent committee members, because we could be removed at any time, and we are not always reappointed. So one, who has control of this account? Is it town staff? Are we paying town staff to control the account? Or are they volunteering? Does it make sense? So that's where it gets a little bit difficult when we try to control the accounts and try to post on the accounts, is who has control? What are we posting? Things like that.
Another elected thing, like chair. I mean,
I think we should table this too. I think
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
very good. I want to have this conversation, but I think we need to have like a whole agenda moment that we literally just talk about this at length, come up with some really good ideas, and
Yeah.
then maybe present them.
And I completely agree with you.
So, all right. I mean, because right now we're not even in the agenda. I'm trying to go
Yeah.
backwards in the agenda because
That's
I
fine.
did forget
So
something.
we're gonna,
So whenever you
If
guys,
you want, I
let me
would
know.
motion, I'll motion to open up the order of business again, so we can add something to the agenda. Because I know that has to be a
so,
motion
okay,
to
so we
open up.
have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Daniel Gonzalez and a
Yeah.
motion by Mark.
So the motion was to
open order
open up
business.
again, so you can add something
Do
to
we
the
have any
agenda. Yes.
discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. We have a open,
I think that Eddie wants to add something to the agenda.
so I wanted to reopen or basically add summer event budget to the agenda.
what do you mean by?
Because I wanted to actually just go back to item 5. We didn't, so
You could
one
just
thing that I don't
motion to
think.
reopen item
Okay, so
5.
can we just motion to reopen item 5?
So do we want to cancel it?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
cancel that.
So we'll open a motion. So we'd have another motion.
Yes. We have a motion to open.
Yeah, so we already motioned that other motion, so it stays.
Okay.
Do we have anything else we want to add? No.
No.
And now we have another motion to reopen up item
Item 5.
5.
Summer event.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes.
So Eddie
Thank-
moved to open item 5.
Yes.
Reopen item 5.
Reopen.
Okay, so sorry about that, guys. But as I was going through this, I remembered we have some money, some extra money available. I just to bring it up, we don't have to do it now, but it might not be a bad idea to talk about moving that, because then by the time we start planning an event and all that, then we have to wait for the next council meeting. So it might not be
So-
bad for us to move some of the money that's left over.
Yes, so we could actually
the
move
item.
that when we get to the budget item. The only reason I say that is because we have some stuff we have to move money for first.
Oh, okay.
And some
Sorry for
important
reopening
things,
this. I
like
thought
some things that we
was-
cannot control that we have to move money for.
But that's last year's budget, not the budget that we're going to talk about. That's not the.
This is this year's budget.
Oh, I thought we were okay. Okay, sorry about that.
Are we editing this one for next year?
No, we cannot move.
Okay.
Oh, no,
okay,
no, I know what you're
item
talking about.
number
To
6,
to move
isn't that
extra
for the
money from
future
this year
budget?
to next year's budget?
No.
To the
Okay.
event for the summer event.
Okay, item 6 is our future budget that we're
Okay,
going
so
to
to move
discuss,
any
right?
extra money to
I'm
that
talking about
event.
the extra money that we have left over in the budget right now for fiscal year
Yeah, so
2020,
we can talk about that because
2021.
we do have to move some money before that. Before we move anything in the budget item, we.
Okay,
Yeah, but
so-
he's still talking about fiscal year 2020,
Yes,
2020,
yes,
2021.
I'm talking about 2021. We
Okay,
have.
we can
money.
talk
That's what
about
we're
that.
going to discuss in
All
item
right,
6.
guys,
Then let's go to
please.
item 6.
Please. We have money, before we move any money, we have money that we have to move from prior events, we have to move it to certain things before we move any money to other events. It is very important that we pay for these because we will be penalized as a committee. And our budget may go down by a lot.
Okay, but is item number 6 about that budget, or
It's
are
part
we
of
talking
that.
about our future proposal budget?
It's open. It's just
Okay.
called budget.
Okay, so sorry
there's a
for
reason-
reopening, so sorry for
there's a
reopening
reason I
item
put it as
5.
just
We'll go
budget.
straight to 6.
Yes,
then.
there's a reason I put it as just budget. So it's open to this year's budget and next year's budget. We are
I
not
apologize
only-
for reopening on the motion. Let's go.
Does anyone else have anything on the summer event?
Before we go into budget, I just want to, do we have to have a motion to put the social media thing on the next agenda?
No,
No.
you
No.
could just request it to the liaison to put it on the agenda.
Okay, awesome.
All right, does anyone else have anything on the summer event? All right. So we'll move on to the fun and long part of the meeting. We haven't even gotten to the long part, which is the budget. For those, so a few things about the budget before we move on. After doing this budget for 9 years, this is the thing I hate most about the whole committee and of all the meetings I've ever been to. This is one of the hardest things to do in the committee, whether it be adding new events, taking away events, or just moving money around for events. Please keep in mind that this is only for those that are 18 years and older in the committee that can vote when it comes to money.
Money, but not moving events or deleting events.
Yes, when it comes to creating events and moving events and taking away the events, everyone can vote. Everyone has full reign. But when it comes to budgeting the event,
Budgeting, but a certain amount or over, I believe.
no. From what we have from the
And Ms.
town,
told you, do you know? I remember, is money a certain amount over that 18 or younger can vote on, or is it all money cannot be voted on? I remember being 750 or over.
we could ask Christina. Christina, can you clarify the law for minors voting on money?
All money?
All money. Okay, there you go. So like I said,
Yes, thank you, Ernie. All money, yes.
if you are under the age of 18, you cannot vote on an item that has to do with money. So please keep that in mind. Only those 18 years and older can vote on money motions.
Does that change quorum or no?
No.
Okay.
No, you do not have to have adult quorum, believe it or not.
I
No.
think we did last year.
Christina, can you clarify that? Do we need adult quorum to vote on money?
No, you just have to have quorum to have the meeting. Any adults present can vote on the matters having to do with money.
Technically, if you have 7 students and 1 adult, that 1 adult can make all the decisions for the money. Good to know.
I know, it's correct, but that is the rule as it's written.
So that is a law. That is not a committee rule. Just so everyone is aware, that is a law. All right. So looking at our budget for this year, from some suggestions that I've gotten, and I'm just going to put in my part right now after doing this budget for so many years. I hate doing this, but I would suggest not adding any more events to our budget or any new line items to our budget. The only reason I say this is because in every event that we've had under 75% participation.
From the committee.
Okay. Please keep in mind that the town does look at that. So if we ask for a higher budget amount and they see that we had less, they're going to be like, why do you want more money? Or why didn't you get rid of this event? So I think the safest thing to do is keep our budget items the same or take away budget items if we need to. This is for the new budget. The new budget. I'm just bringing that up for before we start going into the whole budget thing, right? I just want to make it clear for everyone. That's my opinion. Before we start though, we do have some money to move from the current budget, not the new budget. Ernie, do you know the numbers that we do have to move? I believe it's $2,000 from Spring Fling.
That's correct, from Sprinkling.
So we have to move $2,000 from Spring Fling to what exactly did we have? I think it's the holiday event, correct?
The Winterfest.
The Winterfest. By the way, the only reason we would be moving this money is because we have to pay for the police escort that we had for the actual parade itself.
Quick question, no money was ever budgeted for the Winterfest?
No, that event was mainly sponsorships.
Oh,
We had over $4,000 worth of sponsorships.
So an event.
Or actually, I'm sorry, 2,500, and then we owe 1,950.
So does it actually reflect badly, like say, for example, if a new event was added, but no money was allocated to it via the budget, it was just planned to be completed through sponsorship. So then, could that be, is that like a way to just add a new event?
We
hypothetically?
can, but here's the thing. When we start adding events with no money on it, then we get into trouble when we don't have sponsors and we don't have money to run the event.
Right, of course, if there is no money, it's a dead
Yeah.
end right there, but if
So-
sponsorship just came in.
So yes, keep just
Okay.
yeah.
I think for an event like the Winterfest, it was easier to get sponsorships because they could sponsor like a car, or
Mhm.
like there was like someone will sponsor the gift the cars, and then someone will sponsor a car. So it wasn't a matter of like if you were at another event, like I don't know, you're at like a water event, that'll be harder to get sponsorships than the parades.
Yep, I completely agree with you. So do we have a motion from any of the adults to move the $2,000 from Spring Fling to the holiday or Winterfest?
I'll motion to move $1,950.94 from Spring Fling to Winterfest.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? And I'd like to amend your motion.
To Winterfest? Like,
Yes.
I don't
And I'm going to,
So
this is-
no, we have to pay it off. So I'm going to amend your motion. Eddie, I'm gonna amend your motion and make it 2,000, just so if we have any other additional expenses that we don't know about and keep it safe there. Do we have a second for the amendment?
Wait,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a motion to add $50 to that amount, which is the 1,950, and change it to 1,900, or I mean 2,000. That's-
Quickly, so you take the motion.
Yes,
So
so
everything
it's a
that happened
motion-
beforehand is non-valid.
No, it is valid. It is valid. So you're gonna, it's motioned by Eddie.
Seconded
move-
and then amended.
So it's motioned by Eddie to move $1,950 from Spring Fling to the Winterfest. Second by Mark.
And then
Then there's an amendment to the motion to change it to 2,000.
And the amendment was accepted, and then now we.
Yeah, and it was second by Eddie.
I
Got
got
it?
it. Okay, I got
Oh,
it.
no, it wasn't second. Okay. I thought you seconded.
I
And
want
then I second.
comment.
He seconded, I amended it.
Yeah.
Do
and
we
then-
have
and
a
then that's
second
it.
for the amendment?
Want to debate if anyone seconded.
Do we have a second for the amendment? You have to be 18, you're 18? Okay, we have a second for the amendment.
Second by Eric
Eric.
O'Leary.
Yeah,
It's back, amendments are the hardest thing because it's two motions in one
yeah.
and 2 seconds in one. All right, so the now official motion is to move $2,000 from the Spring Fling event to the Winterfest event. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. So these numbers are not concrete. They don't give you specifically the number. So we have to kind of like be around that number figure. So for example, so you're telling me that $50 would be
No,
could
so-
be in there somewhere.
So this is what we're doing right now is not the actual budget proposal for the following year. This is
Yes.
monies that we're paying back that
Yeah.
we're just not allocating. We're just reallocating it to formality.
No,
Yeah,
I
but
know.
So he's
answer-
just leaving
I
a
get
little
what
extra
you mean.
money just in
I
case
get what
something
you mean,
comes
instead of
through.
paying the exact amount. You're saying why are we
Yes,
moving
yeah.
the extra 50?
Yeah, I'm asking why.
The only reason I'd say to move the extra 51, you don't always want to look like we ran dry the
Okay.
event. Although sometimes it looks good. I'd rather be safe and don't move it. Because let's say at the next event, once we pay off what we have, and let's say we have that $50 left, now we can move it to the other event. We could only move up to $700 at a time without going up to council.
I'd like to comment on that, please.
Go for it, Christina.
So the exact dollar amount, we can go over, but we can't go under. So if it was 1951, but we put 1950 on paper, we would have to have another committee meeting to make it reflect the exact amount, because we can't move more than the allotted amount on the paper. So that just gives us a little bit of buffer for $1, $5, 10, 15 bucks here and there. So we just do that so we wouldn't need to call a special call meeting just to make this change before it goes before council.
Yeah, no one would want to come here on a random day, last minute, saying, hey, we have to have this emergency meeting. No one wants to do that. So I'd rather be safe with that moving of the 50 bucks, just so we're in that zone. And if we have money later on that we know we can move, then we could go ahead and move it if we have to. Okay?
Yeah, I just want clarification. Thank
No,
you.
of course, of course. That's the only reason we do that buffer, just so we know we're completely covered. If you look at our budget, we have $36,000. $50 is not going to make a big difference for the committee. So it's just kind of like, hey, let's just make sure we're covered on everything.
I
Right.
have a quick question. Looking at the actual spring fling, the amount spent and the amount available is not add up to the budget plus the sponsor.
We had sponsors. So what we owe money for the Winterfest. Right.
Right. I understand the numbers for the Winterfest, but you know, spring fling, the 7,000 plus the sponsorship of 27.95. That sum doesn't add up to the sum of the total spent and
Christina,
available.
can you explain that with the budget?
There's like the
So basically we noticed that Spring Fling had a dollar amount of 7,000 with a sponsorship of 27.95 cents. And we spent 4,000. Oh, I see what it is.
what is it?
So basically, no worries, Christina.
I'm pulling, okay, good, go ahead.
Top of the 7,000, we got that sponsorship dollar of, so add 7,000 plus the $2,795
Right. So it's a total of 9,000.
of 9,000. So yeah, that doesn't add up. You're right.
No, there's like 2,000. Like the sponsorship amount is
You're right.
accounted for.
You're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Christina, so basically, to get this correct, so we're all on the same page. We had a $7,000 budget plus the $2,795 sponsorships, correct?
Yes, and I took this all from Munis earlier, so I'm trying to see what that was for. Because we used eggs from last year. Let me see if I can log on to it right here.
And sorry for the confusion, guys. This is how the budget is. And it's gonna get even worse in a few minutes, once we're done moving this money.
So just for the record, all previous motions made still stand, correct?
Yes, we're in discussion right now. The motion is still open. It has not been voted on. So we'll just give Christina a second, just so she can let us know. By the way, for the record.
If you will, move forward, and then I'll come back to that as I'm looking for it right now.
Cool. By the way, so we'll table that motion for a few minutes. We're still in discussion. So Christina, how do we go about, if we have an open motion, do we just, in a second, we just vote on it, or?
If you will, withdraw the motion, continue the meeting, and then we'll come back to that one as soon as I get
my
the
amendment.
details.
Do we have a withdrawal of the original motion? So we have a
I'll withdraw my
withdrawal, so
motion.
we'll move on.
Okay, for the record, in the minutes, is that reflected or
Yes.
it's like it never? So we reflect that it was withdrawn. Perfect.
And for the record, we have Mayor Manny Sid joining us. By the way, little side note, I'm pretty sure the mayor was part of this committee. There you go. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, yep, so we'll move on to budget. I don't think we had anything else to move except for that 2,000. So for now, go ahead, Eddie.
I guess this is where I was trying to get earlier. It just as I guess to make sure we don't run into an issue where we are trying to use a little bit more money for the summer event. It seems to be like there would be some extra money here, even after that move that we just made, unless something with what Christina's looking at right now comes up different, where we'd probably have about at least $1,700 or so that could maybe be reallocated.
Yeah, so what I would suggest doing is as soon as we know that number that we have, then we could do all the motions at once, one at a time. Because I don't think we could do just one giant motion for different events. We have to move it from each. We have to do a motion for each event that we're moving from or to.
No, that's fine. But do you want to
So,
open
let's
that to
say-
discussion and just
Yeah,
try
so-
to start?
Okay, so I remember, sorry, to
Sure.
bring back in, if the committee remembers, any monies that get put into the sponsorship revenue section have to be physically moved to the expenditure side in order to be utilized. So right now we're working off the 36,150. Those sponsorship dollars are not part of our expenditure budget. So the committee would actually need to motion to move the sponsorship dollars from the revenue donations account into the expenditure budget to utilize those funds to pay for things. Does that make sense? Do you guys remember that we had to do that last year?
So just to confirm, we have about $3,295 in sponsorship that's just sitting there in that other account.
Well, we have a little bit more than that
Revenue.
because remember we sold the movies in the park tickets. We sold them at like $5 a piece for each movie that we did. So there is that little bit that's in there as well.
Is that money that we have to use up that has a deadline of September 30th as well, or is that money that will be rolled over into the following year?
So technically sponsorship dollars get thrown into the budget, right? So if we're operating on a budget of 36,150, any sponsorship dollars that come in, they go towards that. It goes kind of like towards it, if that makes sense, to offset the cost of our actual budget. So the more money you bring in sponsorship wise, it looks a lot better because we're not using taxpayer dollars where it kind of like shifts to that side of the budget. Does that make sense? I promise Miss Melissa Hernandez in budget says it way better than I do, but it like offsets the cost overall. So if we actually want to utilize the sponsorship dollars that come in, we have to make a motion to move those monies into the expenditure budget, into the spending account for the committee.
So at least as it pertains to if I understand this correctly, since we have to make a motion to move sponsorship money to the expenditure account, then at least under the line item spring fling, then, because I calculated the difference that's not reflected here being $2,716.22. Well, then that be the amount that will need to be motioned to the expenditure account, if I'm correct here?
So it would just be to motion to move the sponsorship dollars from the revenue account into the expenditure account.
Okay.
I have to I want to find out if it has to be to the direct line item that you want to use it for, or if it could be, no, it just has to move from one to the other.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
So I don't know if you have the number there, maybe in front of you.
We've had this in the
How much
past.
money is there left that can potentially be allocated to different things right now in our budget? That after our move of the $2,000 that we're considering doing for the Winterfest from Springfield.
Yeah, so
On the available budget side, these are the current numbers in our Munis system. So it's not including our sponsorship dollars. So you're looking at 322.7.37.
perfect. Mark,
Yeah, I just have one quick question regarding the year-to-date total spent. That number is higher than what was budgeted. Does that include the sponsorships? Because that math won't add up.
It doesn't include the sponsorships. It includes 4836 that the committee motioned to move from fiscal year 20 to do additional movies in the park. So it does include the 4836. It says it under sponsorship, but that wasn't sponsorship dollars. The committee motioned to move that from fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21.
Yep, so just keep that in mind. That's why that number is a little off when it comes to our total spent, is because we did vote to move money from an event that overlapped last year, which was the movies at the park. I think that was a very special occasion that we will not really see much of. So it's very hard to move money from one budget year to another. Keep that in mind, because it can affect our budget.
Can money be moved into the summer event? Is that a possibility?
Once, yes, it is a possibility, but I would say cover our bases first with the Winterfest, so we don't have a issue with the town. Because if we don't pay that, let's just put it like this. The police department charged the town, not the committee. Since they sent the bill to the town, we have to pay the town back. Although it's the town's money, we still have to pay them back with our budget, right? Since it was for our event. So if we don't pay this $2,000, then the town's gonna be knocking on our doors and saying, why didn't you pay us back?
So what we have left for this fiscal year would be 1,227 once we finish with that allocating of the $2,000 toward the Winterfest, correct? Is that correct, Christina?
Hang on, let me see.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Sorry to everyone that is new. You will learn quickly.
Excel already removed, removed the 1950.94. We rounded it up to 2,000, so you can take an extra $49.06 from the 3,227.37. Does that make sense?
Got it. So it's actually $3,100, give or take, that we would have left over.
All right. So everyone understands?
What about, did we actually use the money for Just Run?
No, that money is still available because there was no Just Run this year.
Yeah. So that we can actually.
And the
move
summer
that
youth
$1,000.
employment was not used either, right?
Correct. That 150 is still available.
Yeah. So we have 3,100, give or take, dollars left over in the
That we
budget.
can move. So 2,000 would be basically.
Keep in mind that does not include the committee shirts, and we did put a halt on the order since we did just get 3 new committee members that are here today, and I believe 1 other one. And then now with the vacancy, there will be another committee member coming in. So once we get that final t-shirt order, it'll probably be, I mean, I would only earmark like a couple hundred for the t-shirts, around like 25 per shirt or something like that.
We do want to have some extra for miscellaneous stuff. When it comes to committee shirts, we don't want to be a committee there with no shirts. We want everyone to know who we are and be proud of what we're in. So I think these shirts are important for all the new committee members. And when you do come to our events, please try to wear your shirts. You don't have to wear them to the meetings. I just wear it because I like to wear it to the meetings, but at least at the events, it makes it easier for people to identify who the committee members are and who they can come for help at the events. Okay, so I think we do need to save some money, at least $500 for these shirts. Because like they said, we do have another 2 spots now after this meeting open for this committee.
So
go ahead.
So just real quick to get back to the budget, since we do already have the clarification from town staff, would that mean that we can already make the motion to reallocate the $2,000 over from the spring fling over to the Winterfest?
Yep.
Okay.
We can motion it.
So
if you have a motion.
sure, I'll motion it.
And I'll
move it.
second.
I've been like cuddling over this.
So we have a motion to move $2,000 from the Spring Fling event into the Winterfest event. And we have a second. I already said. And do we have any discussion? Seeing none, all those, oh, wait a second. Everyone who is over 18, raise their hands. All right, so now we have to do a roll call for this vote. And I don't know if the secretary could take the roll call for mine.
Yeah, he's just a secretary.
I don't think he can.
So can we have like the hands a little bit? Okay. So Juan Rodriguez, Mark Gomez,
Yes.
Daniel Gonzalez, Brian Rodriguez,
Yes.
Eric Valerdi, Eddie Cedeno, Josh Rios, Ariana Rejas.
Perfect. The motion passes. Please keep in mind that you do have to write down what everyone votes for. It's a unanimous yes, so everyone voted yes, but
Yeah, you have to put
you have to write down every single yes or no vote. Yes. So what you'll do is when you're putting together the minutes, you're gonna have a separate little column with everyone's name, and you're gonna put yes or no.
Okay, perfect.
Can you do like also like yes and no, and split it?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could do, there's different ways to do it as long as it's noted in the minutes. So
So just quickly for the record, I cannot put the motion pass unanimously. I have to go into detail in each person.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
I'd like the committee to note that there's another meeting starting in about 7 minutes, so we do need to keep it moving. 8:30 is the start time for the next meeting.
Oh, we move that money. We're gonna move on to our new budget because we have to
Wait.
decide this budget today.
Do we want to make a motion to move some money to the summer?
In my opinion, I think it's the best move to move everything that's left probably over to the summer event that we're going to try to plan, just to make sure we have funds for it in a timely manner. We could postpone that till next time. The budget's
I
also extremely
would-
important.
Do we have to vote on that
As a
now? or-
recommendation, I would do it at the next meeting,
Okay.
just because we have 7 minutes and we had to vote on this budget today.
Can we have a special meeting or does that not exist here?
We can, but that would have to be called by the chair.
What say you?
And that is absolutely if we need to call that. That's an emergency meeting, only for emergencies, I'd say, but I don't think we are going to have to. I think we'll be fine if we move it to the next meeting. So let's move on to the budget. Anyone have any ideas on what they want to do for the budget? We have to work fast. I
I'll
would suggest,
motion to approve it as is.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? I would suggest not doing that.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the Just Run event again?
Just Run is an event, basically an exercise-oriented running program that we have in the town. I would not suggest removing that event. We do have multiple awards because of that event as well.
Was it not done because of like COVID related restrictions?
Yeah, the only reason it wasn't done was because of the COVID restrictions.
Do you want to run through them really quickly, like what
Yeah,
each
so-
event is, so everyone knows? Bike rodeo, we just talked about
So
one.
do you want to take
could go
away
real
your
quick.
motion or do you want to vote on the motion?
No, I was just trying to go down. Go ahead.
All right. Because we have a motion on the table, so we have to speak. Do we have any discussion about this motion?
Well, doesn't reviewing the budget have to do with the motion? Because it was the motion to.
He
review the whole-
motioned
I'm
to
just trying
accept it
get
as
to the point that we're
presented.
gonna vote, so I'm pushing it forward to get to the point where we.
So the
discuss
motion
now,
is
and
to
then we'll
accept the
modify
current budget as our next budget.
Well, you were recommending not to do that. Wasn't that
Yeah,
part
so
of the
that,
discussion?
my we still need to vote on it unless he takes away his motion, unless he revokes his motion.
Or you can
Well,
discuss
yeah,
it
but we
and
can
then
So we're
discuss
gonna
it.
discuss it.
an amendment.
Right,
Right,
yeah,
we should,
no.
yeah. What do you-
So here's my recommendation as the chair, and I don't like doing recommendations as chair, but we are on a time crunch. Because I like everyone to speak. I wouldn't suggest doing the same budget as last year. The only reason I would say that is because we need to pick what we want again or what we don't want again. I wouldn't add anything to it, but I would at least go through every single event and choose whether we want it or not.
Brian, in the sense of being blunt and quick, what event do you think should be removed then? Because
Yeah.
honestly,
So
we
we're
have
gonna
time
go
to
one
do
by
it.
one and we're gonna talk about it as a
We should
committee, because
keep
that's
our
what we
main
do. I don't
ones.
make decisions for the
I
committee.
know, but.
Then I'm gonna suggest that we
giving a
move.
recommendation.
I'll revoke my motion and I'm gonna move that we set up a special call meeting because there's no way we're gonna get through this.
Yeah,
Second.
too rushed.
You have to do the emergency.
We have
So is the motion to withdraw or to call a special
he just
call?
withdrew his motion, but now he's
Withdrawing my
motioning
motion.
to
And
call
does that need a
special
second?
I second it.
Does it need
Christina,
one?
so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Christina, you said we had to have this done by tonight.
Budget does need it by tonight because they have to run through all of the numbers before it goes to council. So they do need this tonight, but if the committee doesn't have it done, the committee doesn't have it done. It is what it is. We would have to schedule another meeting and we need to make sure we have quorum at that next meeting. I'll have to look at the calendar and figure out which dates we have available.
So we're gonna ask for a few more minutes to see if we could get this done, and we cannot have a special call meeting. So let's work quickly and effectively. Do you want to revoke that motion as well, or do we want to vote on it? He already revoked it, okay. So. I would-
Quickly, so the revoke needed a second, correct?
No.
Oh, so we do not need, okay.
All right, so I would suggest going one meeting or one item at a time and see if we want to agree with the same money amount. I would not change the budget if I were you guys. I would keep the same number. And if we have to move money around, we can. So we'll start off with bike rodeo. Do we have a consensus to keep bike rodeo?
Yes.
And keep it at the same dollar amount?
Yeah.
So for $5,000, we're good?
Yeah.
All right, Halloween. Do we want to keep it at 15,000?
Yeah.
Or do we, yes?
Should be the money.
Does anyone have anything else? And we'll make a vote all at the end about it. Ice cream social, or now summer event, it cannot be ice cream social anymore because we voted to change it. So we do have a few more minutes here. Do we want to keep the summer event or remove it from the line items? I'm sorry?
No.
Yeah, so do we want to keep it? Do we want to add money to it? Then we'd have to remove money from another event.
Right.
Or do we want to
I think
remove
that-
it? Do we
well,
want to
I
add it?
think
Do we
it's
want
best
to keep it? It's up to you
I
guys.
think we'd have to, the best thing is to keep it as is because since we're still
You want to keep it as is?
discussing the event.
I'd say keep it as is for right now. All right. So then we have Just Run. You guys want to keep Just Run on it?
Yeah.
I'm good with
It's
keeping
been a
it there.
long
Usually
event.
uses the 1,000.
Yes.
I don't know if that's-
There's really never money left from Just Run.
That's one is like a series of events.
It's basically Just Run is different. It's like
It's a free program for students aged 5 through 13 that encourages running and activity outside. It is a free program and we have up to 100 participants each year. So the funds go to the t-shirts for the participants as well as medals and certificates at the end of the year when they complete the program.
Cool. So we have movies at the park. Do we want to keep movies at the park?
Yes.
Cool. Spring Fling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. The Summer Youth Employment Initiative. So basically that event it's almost like an open house type of thing with a bunch of employers that come in. It's almost like a convention. type.
Like a job fair. It's like a job fair for students so they can come and talk to employers. Some of them have gotten hired from it and interviews. Generally, the cost is usually just for like bagels and coffee for the vendors as they set up.
For that event, me? Oh, I was gonna say because for that event, I went once, and everyone who was there was kind of like not for high school people. So like,
So
if
it's
we
not
do it
only
again-
for high school students.
No, I know, but I'm saying like, that's how it's kind of perceived as youth employment, because
You're considered youth until you're like 25, 26.
No, I know, but I'm saying as someone in high school, you kind of expect to go there to find the job for yourself. So maybe change the name.
I have this suggestion.
In the past,
Yeah.
it's only the 150s.
Yeah,
Casino.
it's
It's
not
been
a
used
big-
for like
it's
water
not a
and the
big
sandwiches,
dollar
I think, or something very
Exactly.
basic.
Oh yeah, I'm saying keep the dollar amount.
So with that money, what we can do is we can send like marketing materials to like, let's say the high schools or not middle schools, the high schools and universities that are in, let's say, North Dade, and to advertise it better. I think that's a good idea. I don't know.
Of course. So that event usually has a very low cost to it.
Yeah.
For a reason. The only reason I say it's a low cost and I think it's a good event is because we've had so many students, not only in college and high school, that have gone out of there with jobs. That is for $150. I think it's well worth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm
It's
saying is,
creating careers.
is there a way to market it in such a way that we target specifically the schools?
Yeah,
and-
that's the town though that
yeah.
sends out marketing.
We could send
Oh,
like
again, yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Like I was.
So
saying,
we're not
we'll
really
talk
saying
about
right
that
now,
later.
like by the budget, we're not really saying what's going, like
Mhm.
what that's being used for. It's purely just, you know, that we're going to be funding it at $150 for now, and then we get sponsorships. We do a lot of other things too.
Oh, of course,
Definitely more adult, which is
of course, and that's the whole planning part of the event. This is just a line item. We're not planning events.
okay. So,
So
yes,
are we
Got it?
keeping it? I guess it
So
sounds
you
like.
guys are good with keeping the youth employment initiatives?
Can I amend it to have $50 more just in case for
Sure.
marketing material?
You want to
So
add 50?
I'm amending it to have
So when we
$200.
vote on it, write it down. When we start voting on it, we're gonna vote on everything with each dollar amount.
Okay.
We're just discussing before we vote, so we know exactly what we're voting. Next is the Winterfest. I agree. That I'd have to, well, I agree and disagree. That event was one of our most popular events this year with a $0 amount. That is impressive. The only reason I say it's impressive is because it was all sponsors. That whole event was sponsors. I'm okay with putting a dollar amount to it. We could put a big dollar amount. We could put $5,000 if we wanted to. But that's up to the committee. Just keep in mind that raises our budget.
Okay, so
I'm okay with bringing our budget up. There's nothing wrong with that. We could always request it to the council. And if they say no, they're gonna make their own edits.
So can we already start talking about putting a dollar amount? Because I know that we have another committee waiting outside to
Yeah.
come in. So if I may, I think that something prudent would be, since we did move over those 4,000 and change dollars to make our budget for the 2021 year, fiscal year, what we spent in reality in events was $39,502.02. I think that if we add what is remaining,
I'd say make it 40,
I'm sorry?
40 even.
Well, just so that it can be
45.
consistent with what we had today for this year, yeah, make it something like 40 and just round up to whatever the $3,850 and make that part of the budget in the Winterfest. Maybe even just do whatever the difference was, and which is would be $3,350 or so. Add that to the Winterfest, so like that we can raise it up to
40.
the
I
40,000,
agree with you.
and that's essentially what we spent this year. And then like that, it could just be already, I guess, laid out within the budget. So
should also have more money to the summer event because
Sure.
just in case. And then I think we can, yeah. that's fine.
So
Allocate more money to the youth employment, summer event, just limit it to reporting.
So I will bring up some stuff with the summer event. Being that it's the last event, it's one of the luckiest events that we have. Because when we have extra money, guess where all that money goes? To that event. The only reason I say this is the higher we raise our budget, the more likely we're gonna get denied our budget and they're gonna edit and make our budget for us. Do we want to decide our budget or do we want the council to decide our budget? Right? We want to decide it. That's the only opinion I'm giving you. I've seen it. I'm telling you, after 9 years, we've raised our budget to $60,000 and guess what happened? They came back with a $40,000 budget and said no.
All right, guys, we got to start
Ready?
moving because it is after and we're running into that next meeting. So let's wrap it up here, please.
I'm gonna make a motion to create the budget for the 2021, 2022.
2 more
budget
minutes,
year.
please.
2021, 2022 budget year with the line items including the bike rodeo with $5,000, the Halloween event with $15,000, the ice cream social or the summer event with $500, the Just Run program with $1,000, movies at the park with $7,500, Spring Fling with $7,000, and the Summer Employment Initiative with $150, as well as the Winterfest event adding $3,850 to that event, creating our budget to be $40,000. Do we have a second?
Those numbers, the last numbers.
It adds up to 40.
Second.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second.
Quickly, so the motion by Brian to basically do it as is, adding 3,850 for the Winterfest, correct?
Yes.
Seconded by Mark.
Yes. Any discussion?
Can we put 50 of those 350 to
You want to,
the youth
you want to
employment?
amend it
Yes,
to change it to where?
to take 50 from the 3850 you said, Mark, right? Take
Okay,
50
so
of
I
that
got
to
you.
the youth employment and make it 200.
All right, so we have an amendment to change it from 3850 to 38 and changing the summer youth employment to $200. Do we have a second for that amendment? Seconded. Any more discussion? Secretary, please call the roll for the adults.
Officer Juan Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mark Gomez. Daniel Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Brian Rodriguez.
Yes.
Eric Valerdi.
Yeah, yes.
Eddie Cedeno.
Yes.
Josh Rios.
Yes.
Ariana Rejas. The motion passes.
Perfect. Congratulations. We have a budget proposal for the council, and that was probably the fastest budget I've ever seen in my life created.
No, last
Yes,
year,
very impressive.
remember last year, that was like a 1 minute budget
That one
approval.
All right, before we finish off, just a recap, our budget that we are requesting is $40,000 for the next budget year.
Quickly, point of personal privilege. The motion was seconded. There was an amendment by Josh to remove 50 from Winterfest, add it to this youth employment. That was seconded by
Mark.
marking it. Perfect.
Perfect. All right. So we're not done with the agenda yet. Do we have any announcements? No, one thing from me. Thank you guys all. I know it's a long meeting. This is probably not the longest meeting you'll have with us. We've had upwards of 4-hour meetings. So I know you guys are in a rush, but get used to it because it will happen. I'm not saying, and I know I'm talking, don't try to rush me because I will not finish this meeting. I've been here too long to know what people want, and I know what you want, but unfortunately you were appointed and we do expect you to be here the whole meeting. Christina, thank you for your help, and we will be giving that budget to the council, and hopefully we do get approved. We did go up a little bit with the budget, so we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll be nice and approve us. Luckily, because of COVID, we didn't spend that much money, and they will realize that. Now that we're coming out of COVID, they could see that we have more to offer and come back strong with our events. So thank you to all of you that worked on this. I'm not just me, the whole town is very grateful for your work when it comes to this budget, because this budget is one, taxpayer money that you're dealing with. This isn't our money. You're dealing with everyone's money. And this is the only reason I'm taking a few minutes right now to talk about that. It's very important. Some of you may not be old enough to pay taxes yet, but trust me, when you start paying taxes, I know Ernie, you're a taxpayer here in the town, as well as Eddie. You guys know how it is, and we're using basically your money for this. So I'm sure they're grateful, everyone's grateful for the work we all do, and just keep that in mind. It's very important to keep that in mind when we're using and doing these events. Do not take advantage, because it is the town residents' money, not the city's money, the residents, our money. Everyone that pays taxes in this town, it's their money. All right, everyone understand? Cool. Every single penny that we use goes back to the town. And if we don't use that correctly, guess what happens? We lose everything and we lose money. Right? Right. So that was my little rant. I just wanted to be clear with everyone out. It's not really said much, but it has to be said and reminded of where this money is coming from. Does anyone else have any more announcements before we head out? Eddie, Ernie, anything? Thank you, Ernie, for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Christina, do you have anything left?
Nope, we are good to go. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Perfect. I will motion to adjourn this meeting at 8:42 PM. This meeting is adjourned.
went to Griffin Road and all the way back there, I bought.
Test, 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 1, 2, 3. Check it, check it. My name is
Mike, check. Look.
Check, check. My check 1, 2. All right. All right, good evening. We're here to call the Neighborhood Improvement Committee to order. Today is June 16th, 9:06 p.m. Mr. Secretary, if you can please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Felicia Salazar. Luli Escar. Ellen Roldan. Jacqueline Vaquer. Javier Ley Sota. Marlene Diaz. Reynaldo Garcia. Robert Ibarra. Rosy Prieto. Mario Pineda.
Present.
Secretary Adrian Ardilla, present. Vice Chair Jesus Mendoza. And Chairperson Rudy Lloredo.
Present.
Chair, we do not have quorum.
All right, seeing that there is no quorum, I motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:07 p.m. Second by Raid. Second. Any discussions? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.